Su Jie had a smile on his lips. The purple cloud heavenly thunder crackled all over his body. His spiritual power was unfathomable, and his aura completely suppressed Dongyu. Enough with the nonsense, you, Su Jie, are not qualified to destroy my Guanchao pavilion. Dongyu gritted his teeth and tossed the green wave furious tide umbrella in his hand. The umbrella, painted with patterns of spring tide and a bright moon over the sea, opened and spun rapidly above Dongyu's head. In the next moment, boundless green tidal waves arose from the void, waves surging and rising, rolling up 9 layers of waves, covering all 8 directions with clouds, like an ocean pressing down on Su Jie. Let's see what you're capable of, Elder Dong. Su Jie flicked the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring in his hand, and volcanoes erupted beneath his feet. The fiery lava resisted the vast green waves, but as a low-grade spiritual treasure, the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring naturally could not compete with a mid-grade spiritual treasure, and the volcanoes were continuously compressed. However, Su Jie was not at all anxious, and he proceeded to perform the Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill. A mighty blood cloud unfolded immediately, the rolling blood cloud corroding the vast green sea, as thousands of layers of blood waves surged towards Dongyu, startling Dongyu to retreat. In this way, Su Jie managed to suppress Dongyu while simultaneously using the Blood Sea to envelop each Guanchao Pavilion disciple. Looking around, with the Firefly Sea as the boundary, on the eastern side of the battlefield, Han Ruyan wielded the 10,000 Soul banner, the Sword Mountain and Fire Sea rampaging across the battlefield. Countless Een souls transformed into terrifying creatures, tearing apart the soul of each cultivator and merging into the 10,000 Soul banner. To the west was the raging blood sea created by Su Jie, the surging blood sea devouring the life force of one righteous cultivator after another. Those swept into it could only dissolve and become part of the blood sea. As for the thousand-handed centipede and the Taoist platform realm battle power of Ghost Ridge Palace, they were engaged with the high-level battle forces of the righteous sect. The righteous cultivators were in a dire situation, having first suffered losses from a nuclear explosion, then encountering Su Jie, Qingzhou's most formidable devil. Their original numbers, over 100,000, had been reduced by more than half. They were incidentally affected, and if they were specifically targeted by Su Jie, the team would likely have dwindled to none by now. This is the impact that top-level powerhouses have on the battlefield. And at this moment, the army from Ghost Ridge Palace finally returned to the battlefield. Initially retreating due to the launch of a nuclear bomb, the Ghost Ridge Palace forces now returned after the sect elders entered the fight, and immediately rejoined the battle. Boom! 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 Countless rockets and shells fell into the ranks of the Guanchao Pavilion cultivators, the fierce shelling tearing through the scorched earth, severed corpses and limbs flying. The mechanized army of Ghost Ridge Palace, with their rocket artillery and spider main battle mecha, conducted long-range bombardments, bullying with their range. Guanchao Pavilion could not withstand this assault. They originally planned to use their geographical advantage, being masters in manipulating water and waves. If Ghost Ridge Palace disciples attacked directly, they would raise wild waves, drowning those ignorant demon cultivators in the lake's depths. Instead of facing Ghost Ridge Palace cultivators, they were met with countless falling shells. The Guanchao Pavilion disciples, who had previously faced sect wars, were not unfamiliar with these shells. Many had taken rocket artillery hits before. Now seeing the Ghost Ridge Palace cultivator forces relying on their long-range attacks and unilaterally bombarding, it surpassed the attack range of most cultivators. Even the secret realm elders among the righteous cultivators couldn't bear it, flying towards Ghost Ridge Palace to attack, and many Guanchao Pavilion disciples couldn't hold back, actively attacking Ghost Ridge Palace's side. The battlefield reached a white-hot intensity at this moment, the sound of battle cries shaking the heavens and earth. The millennia-old, unyielding mountain protection array of Guanchao Pavilion had dimmed like a dying candle. The secret realm cultivators of Ghost Ridge Palace flew arrogantly through the air. An elder controlled a hand-sized poisonous insect to smash a jade pillar, spraying venomous liquid that splashed onto disciples forming an array below, poisoning them to death live. Sea covering. A Guanchao Pavilion elder, his hair and beard flaring, launched a massive wave from his palm, transforming into a huge water whale aiming to swallow the Ghost Ridge Palace Elder. Humph! The Ghost Ridge Palace Elder sneered coldly, as a tide of insects surged beneath his black robe. His body became grotesquely deformed, with 100 eyes on his head, 4 arms at his waist, and his legs transformed into 8 insect limbs, turning into a hideous human insect over 3 meters tall, resembling a humanoid 100-eyed spider, blocking the whale's impact with his physical body. This was Ghost Ridge Palace's human worm refining technique. The two engaged in bloody combat in the air, the aftermath constantly weakening the last spirit patterns of the mountain protection array, and fragments of the glass-like barrier fell like spring rain. A minute later, their battle shifted from the sky to the ground, and finally, the Ghost Ridge Palace Elder's arms tightly coiled around the Guan Chao Pavilion Elder's ankle. Both were covered in blood, but in the end, the demon cultivators displayed more tenacious life force, especially the elders who cultivated the human worm refining technique, transforming their bodies into something akin to poisonous insects. Their life force was comparable to that of bugs, unaffected despite their chest and abdomen being torn open and an eye bursting. With a cruel grin, he exerted force abruptly, under the despairing gaze of the Guan Chao Pavilion Elder, tearing him from his feet. The entire person split into 2, blood and viscera spilled on the ground. Activate the sword array. An elder from the Golden Sword sect, upon seeing this, signaled his sect disciples. Over 100 Golden Sword sect disciples sat cross-legged, simultaneously cutting their wrists, and as the lines of blood formed scarlet talismans in the air, they integrated into their flying swords. Kill! The Gold Sword sect elder's long sword flew into the air, causing over 100 flying swords from his disciples to follow, the whole mountain hearing a dragon-like sword cry, and the sword light spilled like a galaxy. The foremost 100-eyed spider instantly became a blood mist, several Ghost Ridge Palace elders either injured or retreating. The prowess of the sword cultivators proved formidable among peers, despite being ineffective against Su Jie. Yet, his action caught the attention of Han Ruyan, and with just a glance from Han Ruyan, a silent curse descended. Both the Golden Sword sect elder and the 100 disciples forming the array were utterly silenced, their features erased, draped in ceremonial robes of mourning, and died on the spot. The battle on the ground was equally fierce. Several disciples from the Dragon and Tiger sect had just approached when a rumbling beneath the ground erupted. 3 muscle-covered meat vines broke the surface, showers of human-faced moths spewed from the ruptured segments, rapidly devouring their bodies. Hundreds of meters away, a Ghost Ridge Palace inner disciple hiding behind a tree, with a sinister smile, used the meat vines from underground to unexpectedly send human-faced moths to the enemy's position with success. Courting death. A female inner disciple from Miao Yin Temple, witnessing this scene, was incensed. With a flick of her sleeve, 12 jade shuttles flew from her sleeve, accurately piercing several hundred meters towards the Ghost Ridge Palace disciple. Bang! This Ghost Ridge Palace disciple had anticipated this, and before the attack landed, a swarm of human-faced moths flew out from his waist's insect control bag, forming an insect cloud that evaded the threat, the wounds merely superficial to some human-faced moths, demonstrating the prowess of Ghost Ridge Palace's signature magic, the body worm focusing method. Miao Yin Temple's vast righteous qi is only fit to fuel my Gu Ding. This Ghost Ridge Palace disciple let out a hoarse laugh, as a hideous insect emerged from the meat tumor split open at the back of his neck, swelling visibly, morphing swiftly into a 6-eyed toad 3 meters large, bounding towards the Miao Yin Temple female cultivator. You think you can? The Miao Yin Temple female cultivator hadn't finished her words when a shell blasted in her direction. She dodged urgently, yet was still affected by the shockwave, her internal energy in turmoil, not yet stabilized when she suddenly felt a tightness around her waist, encircled by a sticky and fleshy tongue. Oh no! The Miao Yin Temple female cultivator's face showed panic, eager to struggle, but as her skin contacted the tongue, toxins invaded her body, causing paralysis. With a squelch, the 6-eyed toad retracted its tongue, swallowing the Miao Yin Temple female cultivator, leaving behind the scent of powdered jade. The demon cultivator from Ghost Ridge Palace smiled smugly and waved towards a spider main battle mecha on the other side. They were actually part of a small team with prearranged cooperation. Over 1,000 spider main battle mechas from Ghost Ridge Palace demonstrated enormous utility on the battlefield. They could not only crash through enemy lines but also coordinate with disciples for mutual cooperation, leaving the righteous cultivators beleaguered and anxious. The Ghost Ridge Palace's forces advanced layer by layer, with 1,000 spider main battle mechas providing fierce firepower output. Although these powerful war machines couldn't play a role in high-end battles, amidst the ground-heavy Yunling Realm disciples' clashes, they could shine significantly. Especially when dealing with outer disciples of the 5th level of Yunling Realm and below, the spider main battle mechas appeared increasingly ferocious. The main cannon roared, and the machine guns swept wildly, with powerful fire barrages suppressing the disciples' talismans and magic, making the Ghost Ridge Palace's side appear astonishingly imposing. Yet, no matter whether it was the Yunling Realm-level disciples of Ghost Ridge Palace battling or the Ghost Ridge Palace elders and righteous elders clashing in the sky, none could truly determine the outcome of this battle. Even most Taoist platform realm powerhouses were merely important forces in this sect war, not the decisive factor in determining victory or defeat. The real key was the result of the duel between Qingzhou's strongest devil and its strongest righteous cultivator, namely, the victory or defeat between Su Jie and Dong Yu. Rumble. Layers upon layers of blood sea surged endlessly, with countless heavenly thunder bursting and flashing within, its might unparalleled, shaking the heavens. Within the blood sea, the green wave furious tide umbrella spun wildly. Dong Yu held this mid-grade spiritual treasure, frantically urging its vigor. The fierce waves of green wave furious tide continued, transforming into a deep and boundless ocean vortex, absorbing heaven and earth spiritual power, turning into galloping dragons and kunpangs. This was the confrontation of Blood Sea and Blue Sea, with Su Jie relying on his 10-level Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill, while Dong Yu relied on the mid-grade spiritual treasure in his hand and the Guanchao Pavilion's secret technique. But for cultivators, ultimately what counts is personal strength. Though magic artifacts are considered part of personal strength, they are not as crucial as personal spiritual power and cultivation techniques. As with Su Jie now, the power of the Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill was revealed, turning into a vast blood sea. As long as the blood sea was not drained, Su Jie would remain indestructible. He could make countless mistakes, but how many mistakes could Dong Yu, who relied on a mid-grade spiritual treasure, afford? The rampaging blood sea became increasingly violent, as if the heavens wept blood, the earth spewed blood river, and the rolling blood sea surged forth. Even the green wave furious tide umbrella's full defense could hardly resist it, with parts of the green ocean being penetrated and dissolved by the blood sea. Ching! A torrent of blood sea pierced through layers of green wave, transforming into a sharp divine sword, leaving a ghastly gash on Dong Yu, who was concentrating on controlling the green wave furious tide umbrella. Dong Yu let out a muffled groan, his face darkened. The blood sea devouring sky demon skill of Su Jie was even more terrifying than he expected. He originally intended to use the green wave furious tide umbrella to suppress Su Jie, gradually wearing down the blood sea of Su Jie. Unexpectedly, the scale and quality of Su Jie's blood sea were so overwhelming that they ended up suppressing the green wave furious tide umbrella. Judging by the opponent's appearance, it seemed like he intended to seize the green wave furious tide umbrella in Dong Yu's hand. The movements of Su Jie controlling the blood sea seemed more like probing the limits of the green wave furious tide umbrella. Thinking this way, the surging blood sea became even more turbulent, forcing Dong Yu into continuous retreat. Rip! In just a few minutes, accompanied by the sound of brocade tearing, another deep wound appeared on Dong Yu, extending from the collarbone all the way to the waist, cutting through a large piece of muscle, exposing internal fiber textures and vaguely wriggling organs. And similar wounds were numerous on Dong Yu's body. Dong Yu's figure flickered as he suppressed the near-boiling blood within his body, while his face grimly stared at the vast blood sea. Elder Dong, it seems your strength is not enough to protect the sect thoroughly, huh? Amidst the surging blood sea, countless blood suddenly gathered violently, and a giant of blood, several hundred meters tall, rose slowly. His appearance was identical to Su Jie, looking down at Dong Yu from a lofty position. The game is over now. It seems your sect has no other countermeasures. So please obediently meet your end and leave the management of Qingzhou to me. Su Jie laughed heartily. His voice shook the universe, and the giant blood figure clapped its hands. Thunder struck with a deafening roar, and the boundless blood sea surged unstoppably. Dong Yu, caught amidst it, seemed as fragile and lonely as a lone boat in a tempest, to the point of not even the green wave furious tide umbrella being able to ensure his safety. Seeing this, Dong Yu could no longer endure, turned around, and fled into a grand hall on Lake Island. Thinking of abandoning the sect and fleeing at this time, the surging blood sea closed in an instant. Su Jie resumed human form, boldly following behind. When Su Jie arrived at this grand hall, a hidden opening appeared on the floor, leading deep underground. Trickery, Su Jie sneered, stepping directly into the hidden passage. The passage led all the way down, through a deep, long corridor, finally unveiling before Su Jie a vast underground palace. The underground palace was enormous. One side was filled with numerous sect scriptures, spirit stones, spiritual materials, elixirs, treasure tripods, and countless resources and various treasures. On the other side, altars towered, holding statues of the Guanchao Pavilion's ancestors from all generations. At the very front was placed a bizarre statue that looked somewhat familiar to Su Jie. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be sculpted from dragon vein crystal fruit. The sect is in peril. The disciples are in danger, Master. Please come out quickly. Dong Yu knelt in front of the ancestor statue's cushion, desperately shouting, calling upon the final trump card of Guanchao Pavilion. Master. Su Jie squinted, unsure whether Dong Yu truly had a trump card or was bluffing. He hadn't heard of Dong Yu having any master prior. Thinking it over, Su Jie did not slow his movements. He struck out with a palm. A giant palm, several meters wide, made of condensed holy blood, smashed down, shattering the millions of layers of green wave barrier protecting Dong Yu through his green wave furious tide umbrella. This is because the palm of the bloody giant hand grasped the 9-grade sacred lotus, emitting a brilliant holy light. Combining the power of the exotic treasure and the corrosive ability of the blood sea, it broke the defense of the green wave furious tide umbrella and struck towards Dong Yu's body. In the battle within the blood sea just now, Dong Yu had already been driven to exhaustion, with barely any spiritual power left, unable to exert much of the power of this mid-grade spiritual treasure. In contrast, Su Jie was still brimming with vitality, his spirit full and flourishing, completely different from before. This was absolute personal strength dominance. Even though both were in the 7th realm of the Taoist platform, and even with a mid-grade spiritual treasure like the Green Wave Furious Tide Umbrella, Dong Yu was still far inferior to Su Jie. Seeing this, Dong Yu was terrified. Humph! Just when Dong Yu, the great elder of Guanchao Pavilion, seemed defeated, the bizarre statue placed on the high platform suddenly lit up with a ghostly light. Soon after, a majestic aura rose abruptly from the Lake Heart Island, the massive wind pressure crushing the high platform, turning the sculptures of ancestors into dust. A tall figure forcefully stood behind Dong Yu protectively. Bang! The bloody giant palm fell with a crash, its power stripped by some rule, the blood turning into wisps of green smoke, vanishing into thin air. Oh! Guanchao Pavilion truly has some hidden trump cards. Su Jie was puzzled and surprised at the sudden appearance of the figure. He saw this figure, tall and slender, surrounded by a faint purple aura, wearing a moon-white wide-sleeved robe with cloud patterns, a gold-plated restriction talisman sword 3 inches wide on his wrist. His distinct sword-shaped brows arched like an unsheathed blade. His appearance looked to be in his 60s or 70s, but his eyes, imbued with the aura of frost and snow, showed no signs of aging. Instead, they revealed a vigorous sharpness, with a gaze that gathered lethal intent within the brows, causing intense unease. Carefully looking him over, Su Jie felt a sense of déjà vu, and suddenly a conjecture formed in his heart. "Master, you have finally arrived." Dong Yu was overjoyed, kneeling before the figure. "Fool, you can't even manage this," and the mountain gate got breached so quickly. The old man spoke gruffly, scolding Dong Yu, the great elder of Guan Chao Pavilion, like a father reprimanding a son. "Master, this disciple has not done well. This devil is too strong. I am no match for him." Dong Yu bowed his head in shame. He knew his master's current state, and if it weren't a matter of life and death, he wouldn't have wished for his master to reveal himself to save the day. "Step aside." The old man turned, glancing coldly at Su Jie with his ghostly eyes. "You are Su Jie, the one who sabotaged my plans? Sabotaged your plans? This is the first time we've met, isn't it?" Su Jie scrutinized him, speaking calmly. "The dragon vein crystal fruit was supposed to be my possession. You stole part of it, otherwise I might have already restored my full form and perhaps even reshaped my physical body today." The old man spoke with a sharp voice, his gaze towards Su Jie filled with undisguised murderous intent. "Oh, might you be using the dragon vein's power to nurture your divine soul, currently manifesting as a primordial spirit?" Su Jie replied indifferently. This surprised the old man opposite him, evidently not expecting Su Jie to discern the truth at a glance. Although he was now a young god, an ethereal soul, he appeared no different from ordinary people, and few cultivators could tell he lacked a physical body. "You have some insight much stronger than this waste under my seat." "Humph, since that's the case. My name is Di Feng of Guan Chao Pavilion, and you have the honor to die by my hand." Di Feng, the former sect master of Guan Chao Pavilion, in the Purple Mansion realm? Su Jie immediately understood the old man's background. There was once a sect war between Qing Province's Fire Cloud Palace and Qingzhou's Guan Chao Pavilion. The Purple Mansion realm ancestors of both sects fought to the end. The Fire Cloud Palace ancestor died on the spot, and the ancestor of Guan Chao Pavilion, Di Feng, returned to Guan Chao Pavilion only to pass away a few days later from his severe injuries. It now seemed that the rumors were inaccurate. Di Feng didn't die from his wounds. Instead, he had barely survived and continued to live in the state of a divine soul. A Purple Mansion realm cultivator who had cultivated a young god who could walk under the sun. It seems the other side wouldn't hide in this underground palace unless their young god wasn't severely damaged. Upon seeing the Purple Mansion, why not pay respects? Di Feng's perpetually half-closed eyelids suddenly lifted, his voice booming like 9 heavens' divine thunder, exceedingly intimidating. If it were any ordinary cultivator, they might be frightened into kneeling down. Purple Mansion cultivators stand at the pinnacle of the Dali dynasty, each one an unparalleled genius, an unparalleled powerhouse, practitioners who have cultivated the yang god, condensed dharma forms, standard bearers at the pinnacle of endless cultivation. I pay respects to your grandmother. A mere Purple Mansion, without even a physical body. Why pretend at all? Su Jie was amused, his expression one of seeing a fool, as if Di Feng truly believed his own importance. However, Su Jie's act of disdain thoroughly angered Di Feng. "Ignorant brat, since that's the case, let me show you the power of the Purple Mansion so you understand the gap between us. Even with only the yang god, I can suppress you with one hand." Di Feng held one hand behind him, pointing forward with the other. Ripples appeared in the void, an aura of the Tao River emerging, vast spiritual power, yang god, and Tao rules. Di Feng's whole being seemed drawn into a black hole vortex, blending with countless rule forces, finally transforming into a ferocious creature. This creature was no taller than 5 zhang, as tiger-like as a leopard, dragon-like in head and tail, both gold and jade in color, with wings unable to spread on its shoulders, and a horn curving backward on its head. "This is the Pishio Dharma form, ignorant brat, your first time witnessing it, right? Bring out your blood sea demon skill. I'll let you die with satisfaction." The Pishio Dharma form, transformed by Di Feng, roared. The Dharma form is the weaponization of the yang god, the most common and powerful attack method for Purple Mansion cultivators. Even a Dao platform realm cultivator stands no chance before a Yang God Dharma form, only to be crushed. As soon as the Pisho Dharma form appeared, the void became extremely chaotic. The spiritual power that enveloped Su Jie was like being absorbed into a black hole, rapidly draining away. This is the innate ability of the Pisho Dharma form, only intake and no output, capable of devouring most attacks as well as the spiritual power within Su Jie. Even if Su Jie transforms into a blood sea, given time, the Pisho Dharma form can devour it without returning anything, directly consuming it without giving Su Jie a chance for resurrection or reconstruction. This is why Di Feng, knowing Su Jie possesses the blood sea devouring sky demon skill, dares to be unafraid, as he naturally counters it. You call me a brat, yet you merely rely on the Yang God Dharma form. Su Jie laughed, refraining from using the blood sea devouring sky demon skill, instead wiping between his eyes with his fingers, splitting open his brow. Along with it, an even more tumultuous aura of the great Tao expanded instantly. The spectral image of the Chaos Dharma appeared, bearing double wings, without limbs, like a rotund mountain ball, the single eye in the middle radiating. In that instant, a more surging and magnificent presence of the Tao arena spread over. It carried the momentum of a gale of dragon tornado as the sky dome suddenly cracked with cobweb-like purple patterns, while the bluestone slabs beneath trembled and arched. The appearance of the Chaos Dharma form, with its formidable presence, rendered the Pisho a mere firefly before the bright moon. In size, strength, and aura, they were on entirely different levels. Though one Yang God was severely damaged and the other newly cultivated, they seemed equally matched. Nevertheless, Su Jie's Yang God was entrenched in boundless faith-based power. Though one Yang God was severely damaged and the other newly cultivated, they seemed equally matched. Nevertheless, Su Jie's Yang God was entrenched in boundless faith. Though one Yang God was severely damaged and the other newly cultivated, they seemed equally matched. Nevertheless, Su Jie's Yang God was entrenched in boundless faith. Though one Yang God was severely damaged and the other newly cultivated, they seemed equally matched. Nevertheless, Su Jie's Yang God was entrenched in boundless faith. When the Chaos Dharma form appeared in the world, Di Feng, who had transformed into a Pisho, changed his expression. He looked at the Chaos Dharma form in a daze, his eyes almost popping out. Yang God, you've actually cultivated the Yang God. How is this possible? You're clearly just in the Taoist platform realm. Di Feng's originally proud mindset slightly collapsed. He thought he was only dealing with a Taoist platform realm devil, only to realize upon exchanging blows that the opponent's shell contained a Yang God. Who said that only the Purple Mansion can cultivate the Yang God? Su Jie sneered twice, not giving Di Feng any chance to babble further. The winged Chaos Dharma form's lone eye rotated, locking onto Di Feng. The lone eye blinked slightly. Boom! Endless pure white brilliance filled the view, threads of light seemingly purifying the troubled world. Faintly, one could hear the holy sound of the Tao, inducing a desire to bow and submit. The attack released by this Chaos Dharma form manifested as a magnificent sacred white beam of light, piercing through, crushing all obstacles along the way into powder. Void Devour! Di Feng's face changed dramatically, and the Five-Zhang large Pisho instantly seemed drained, leaving only a dry husk. The Pisho, a legendary beast that only ingests but never expels, was cultivated by Di Feng to the Purple Mansion realm over 100 years ago. In the Tao River, he found remnants of a Pisho, a Tao chaos creature, using its imprint to refine his Yang God Dharma image. A century of cultivation led to profound mastery in utilizing the Pisho Dharma form, developing various subtle uses of the Dharma form. He had survived nearly perishing with the Fire Cloud Palace ancestor, living on in a wretched state all thanks to the in and outless trait of the Pisho Dharma form, which locked the last essence of his Yang God within the Pisho and allowed him to continuously absorb all kinds of divine soul spiritual materials from the outside world, thus surviving to this day. Now, facing the daunting Chaos Dharma form, Di Feng strived to stop it, hoping to find a way to break the situation. The sacred white beam of light pierced downward, and the Pishio's hide opened its mouth. The white beam turned into wispy smoke, dissipating into the air. But barely holding for 3 seconds, the white beam shattered the Pishio's rule, its power exceeding the Pishio Dharma form's tolerable limit. Any rule depends on both parties' strength. Rules only matter when strengths are similar. No strong person follows a weakling's rules. Di Feng's Pishio Dharma form was too fragile, while Su Jie's Chaos Dharma form was too strong. Not good. Di Feng felt something amiss in his heart, quickly dodging, but still a step too slow. The white beam skimmed past the Pishio Dharma form, the terrifying power directly evaporating 1/5 of the Pishio Dharma form's body, causing Di Feng to shriek horribly. Because the Dharma form is the transformation of the Yang God, and the Yang God is the soul of the body, the Dharma form being wounded equates to the most terrifying injuries, akin to a soul being torn apart. The momentum of the white beam didn't stop, grazing the Pishio before piercing the soil and rocks. A long, narrow ravine was blasted open in the Lake Heart Island, splitting the Firefly Sea, revealing the lake bed's mud 100 meters down. The entire battlefield fell silent for a moment, both the right and evil factions turning their heads in shock, only to see a flash of white light pass. Then a straight line opened the Firefly Sea in two. This kind of power far surpassed the heavenly might of a Taoist platform realm elder, terrifying to the point of making one's scalp tingle. More people looked towards Lake Heart Island, where a mountain-like one-eyed chaos creature floated in the lair of Guanchao Pavilion. The Ghost Ridge Palace disciples saw this scene and their morale soared, for atop the one-eyed chaos creature stood their sect master, which spoke volumes. Couldn't even withstand a single move, daring to call yourself a Purple Mansion realm great power. Su Jie's voice drifted down from the sky, looking at Di Feng as if he were already a dead man. Though, in terms of Dharma form manipulation techniques, Su Jie was outmatched compared to Di Feng. Su Jie's Chaos Dharma form followed the path of one force breaks all techniques. Pure power overwhelming, no matter how exquisite your techniques, all come to naught. For instance, now the 5-Zhang Pishio is dwarfed by Su Jie's Chaos Dharma form, which is over 100 meters. The size difference alone distinguishes their disparity. If only my Yang God had fully recovered. Di Feng's face was extremely grim, urging the Pishio with all his strength. Yet the Pishio Dharma form's 18 golden cores were covered in cracks, allowing him to draw only the most limited power, struggling to contend with Su Jie at full might, let alone in this half-dead state. A weakling. Just accept death. Why make excuses? Su Jie flicked his fingers, and the Pishio Dharma form that had appeared before him, just as it was about to deploy divine skills, was slapped away by the Chaos Dharma form's wing, bursting into countless blood mists. Green Sea Storm Umbrella. Di Feng grunted, waving his hand, and the green wave Furious Tide umbrella in Dong Yu's hand flew into his own. This mid-grade spiritual treasure was originally his magic artifact, now returned to its rightful owner. Holding the green wave Furious Tide umbrella, with the heavenly might of the Yang God, endless black water fury tides expanded swiftly, interlinking with the outside Firefly Sea to form monstrous waves hundreds of meters high, blocking out the sun and sky, rushing at Su Jie's Chaos Dharma form. As they closed in, each surging wave transformed into a ferocious dragon's head. Hundreds upon hundreds of dragon heads opened their giant mouths to bite down on the Chaos Dharma form from all directions. In Di Feng's hands, the green wave Furious Tide umbrella, this mid-grade spiritual treasure, grew even more powerful by threefold, far exceeding its use in Dong Yu's hands. Cut the struggling useless. Su Jie completely ignored the monstrous waves, merely stamping his foot lightly. Swoosh! The Chaos Dharma form's lone eye blinked again, the white light directly evaporating the mighty ocean waves. At the same time, the Chaos Dharma form's 72 golden cores shone brilliantly. As the weapon of the Yang God, they naturally wouldn't be easily broken. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a hallmark ability of the Purple Mansion realm. Su Jie's Chaos Dharma form directly resisted the attack of the spiritual treasure, with those giant waves and dragon heads falling onto the body of the Chaos Dharma form. Most of them were swallowed by the vortex, returning to disordered chaos, completely unable to truly threaten the Dharma form. Immediately, Under Su Jie's control, the Chaos Dharma form's single eye blinked repeatedly, launching a barrage of violent attacks against the Pishio Dharma form, focusing solely on brute force. White beams of light, like extinction divine light, wreaked havoc on Lake Heart Island, piercing through massive valleys. This marked the biggest change at the Yang God realm. Without having reached Yang God in the past, the Dharma form could only serve as Su Jie's trump card. Even exhausting all his power could only be used once or twice, causing injury to himself in the process. But once Yang God is achieved, the Dharma form can be freely called upon without scruple, equivalent to turning a big move into a normal attack. As long as your Yang God can hold on, you can fight eternally with combat power multiplied many times over. Facing the wanton attacks of the Chaos Dharma form, the Green Wave Furious Tide Umbrella could not resist the Chaos Dharma form, and Defeng's Pishio Dharma form was even more unable to intercept, only capable of constantly evading, with massive gaps appearing on the Pishio Dharma form, its size already less than 1/5 of its original. Too weak, completely unable to make me try my best. The Chaos Dharma form flapped its wings, and a huge shadow engulfed the land below, the vortex-like purple single eye locking onto Defeng. Su Jie stood firm in front of Defeng, kicking at the Green Wave Furious Tide Umbrella, wielding the 9-grade Sacred Lotus and smashing it, sending it flying away from the top of Defeng's head. Blood Sea. The next moment, Su Jie's body transformed into a blood sea, trapping Defeng from evading. Before Defeng could attempt escape, a beam of Extinction Divine Light descended from the sky, with the Chaos Dharma form's attack arriving simultaneously. Ah! Defeng let out a painful shriek, his heart and eyes full of despair. Having just revived, he encountered a Taoist platform realm freak who had trained a Yang God. Without even having the chance to display his abilities, he was about to face death here. Resentment, hatred, despair. In Defeng's eyes full of despair, the body of the Pishio Dharma form shattered piece by piece, disintegrated by the white beam of light, dissipating back into the human world. Defeng, who had inscribed his soul and will within the Pishio, accompanied the Pishio Dharma form to face the end of his death. Capture. But at the last moment, Su Jie felt a fondness for talent and suddenly reached out a big hand, grabbing the ruined Yang God of Defeng. Mr. Su, I'm willing to submit to you. Serve for 100 generations. Teach what I've learned, including the endless miraculous uses of the Dharma form's magic. Defeng thought Su Jie wanted to spare his life, allowing him to serve henceforth, which gave Defeng a glimpse of survival. The older he got, the more he feared death. If he had been open-minded, he wouldn't have lingered in the sunless underground palace to survive until now. As long as you live, there's always a chance. Defeng even secretly vowed in his heart that if given the opportunity, he would repay Su Jie 100-fold for today's shame. All right, enter the Soul Banner for a chat. My Emperor's banner needs talents like you to serve. Su Jie laughed heartily, very pleased with Defeng's answer. Defeng's expression froze, watching as Su Jie threw him towards the 10,000 Soul Banner, which spewed flames and black smoke beneath the Sword Mountain, his features twisted with rage. What kind of Emperor's banner is this? It was clearly a treasure of the demon path. Su Jie, you scum, deserve the worst death. In the echo of Defeng's anguished screams, the 10,000 Soul Banner absorbed his Yang God, refining him. Instantly, as if having consumed a potent tonic, the 10,000 Soul Banner rose with the wind. The Sword Mountain became denser, and the fire sea surged more violently, slaughtering the righteous disciples, scattering their forces entirely, with the majority of the battlefield covered by the 10,000 Soul Banner. Wherever it passed, countless righteous lives were easily stripped away, becoming nutrients for the 10,000 Soul Banner. Contentedly sending Defeng to work in the 10,000 Soul Banner, Su Jie looked toward Dongyu on the ground. Master has fallen. Dongyu was still struggling to accept this reality, that his Purple Mansion Realm Master had lost to Su Jie, a Taoist platform realm devil, and hadn't even posed any trouble to Su Jie, being entirely suppressed with no chance to fight back, falling into the 10,000 Soul Banner in less than 10 minutes, which was less time than he lasted in Su Jie's hands. With Master defeated, Guanchao Pavilion was entirely hopeless for a comeback, leaving Dong Yu in despair, kneeling on the ground, neither fleeing nor begging for mercy, just staring blankly at the brutal battlefield, watching countless Guanchao Pavilion disciples meet tragic ends as tears streamed down his face. Family should be together. Su Jie made a finger gesture like a sword, slicing through the air, and Dong Yu's head flew off, caught steadily by Su Jie. On the ground, Dong Yu's headless corpse remained kneeling, facing the shattered statues of Guanchao Pavilion's ancestral figures. He had no face to meet Guanchao Pavilion's ancestors even in the afterlife. Su Jie didn't mourn for enemies. Sect warfare was a matter of life and death. If Ghost Ridge Palace had been overrun by Guanchao Pavilion initially, Dong Yu wouldn't have shed a single tear either. Carrying Dong Yu's head, Su Jie flew to the center of the battlefield, issuing a thunderous command. Everyone, the thief head of Guanchao Pavilion has been executed. We have won a great victory. Come, slaughter these righteous scoundrels with me. Su Jie's voice spread across the battlefield, making Ghost Ridge Palace disciples ecstatic, as their sect master had finally defeated Dong Yu, the strongest of the righteous, settling the victory of this battle. In contrast, the morale of the righteous plummeted. Guanchao Pavilion disciples were in turmoil, while reinforcement armies from other righteous sects completely collapsed under the leadership of the elders, scattering and fleeing. But by now, it was too late for them to consider running. Su Jie, freed from handling, didn't show mercy to the weak, clasping his hands. Heavenly might! Rumble! Thousands of thunder snakes struck the battlefield, with Secret Realm elders and Yunling Realm disciples all reduced to ashes in front of the purple cloud, Heavenly Thunder. Subsequently, Su Jie transformed his body into a blood sea. Rolling waves of the blood sea swept across the sky, absorbing the bloodshed on the battlefield, consuming the righteous cultivators one by one, making them parts of the blood sea. Su Jie's blood sea didn't spare even the strong Taoist platform realm cultivators. By now, the righteous only had 4 Taoist platform realm cultivators left fighting Li Yuze, Tang Peiqing, and Taoist Qiu. Zhang Junwei and others were being pushed back as Tang Peiqing and Taoist Qiu had just advanced to Taoist platform realm not long, lacking the realm advantage of the righteous Taoist platform realm experts, compounded by 4 against 3. Fortunately, demon cultivators mostly possess survival capabilities far exceeding those of the righteous, unlike Su Jie being so swift and decisive. Even when winning, killing was still difficult during Taoist platform realm confrontation, so after Su Jie was freed up, Zhang Junwei and others remained lively. As Su Jie's blood sea covered them, the advantage the righteous Taoist platform realm experts had gained on Zhang Junwei and others instantly vanished, scaring them to the core as they turned to flee, not daring to risk their lives against Su Jie, the devil. But once noticed by the freed-up Su Jie, they stood no chance of survival. Wave upon wave of blood sea covered them, as Su Jie unveiled the annual ringworm, allowing this lazy home bug to strike. The annual ringworm lazily flipped around, awoken, exhaled a breath to give its new sect master face. A fleeing Taoist platform realm cultivator stiffened ahead, their skin shedding layer upon layer, abruptly dying. Su Jie's blood sea engulfed, devouring 2 Taoist platform realm cultivators, while the last Taoist platform was captured and refined by Han Ruyan with the 10,000 soul banner. Without the Taoist platform realm constraint, Zhang Junwei and others swiftly pursued and blocked the righteous cultivators, bullying the Secret Realm elders and Yunling Realm disciples. Su Jie and Han Ruyan held the 10,000 soul banner, raising 1 red and 1 black sky curtain, slaughtering the remaining righteous cultivators. Earlier, the sect war between Ghost Ridge Palace and the righteous had been fought for over half an hour, only gaining slight advantage. But as Su Jie was freed, the war concluded entirely within just 5 minutes, as the righteous cultivators were utterly wiped out. This demonstrated the battlefield influence of high-level combat power. And as the last righteous cultivator was swallowed by the blood sea, Guanchao Pavilion, the Qingzhou righteous leader, declared entirely extinct, removed from the Deli dynasty. As the war ended, the area near Firefly Sea had completely transformed into a hellish scene. Bodies lay torn and dismembered everywhere. The scent of blood lingered in the air, and the lake's surface blazed with scorching flames, altering the terrain along with it. Sizzle. After the war ended, the first to rush to Sujie was the Thousand-Hand Centipede. Behind the Thousand-Hand Centipede were 4 massive flying magic boats. These flying magic boats, which once belonged to Guanchao Pavilion, had their disciples completely slaughtered by the Thousand-Hand Centipede, preserving these flying magic boats largely intact. This was also instructed by Sujie, as the flying magic boat's value is exorbitant, a war weapon. Had these flying magic boats not been handled by the Thousand-Hand Centipede, they could have decimated 70 to 80% of Ghost Ridge Palace's tens of thousands of disciples. Well done. Sujie patted the Thousand-Hand Centipede's head and looked towards Han Ruyan on the other side. All the souls have been collected. Han Ruyan raised the 10,000 soul banner in her hand. Sujie looked carefully and could sense that the number of Yin souls in the 10,000 soul banner had significantly increased, nearly doubling. In this battlefield at Firefly Sea, the number of cultivators killed exceeded 100,000. The souls of cultivators are far stronger than those of ordinary people. There were even secret realm elders, Taoist platform realm experts, and even a young god. The appearance of these numerous souls caused the Yin soul count in the 10,000 soul banner to skyrocket from 10 million to nearly 20 million, enhancing its power dramatically. An opportunity that is as rare as it is sought after. After all, this battle assembled many righteous cultivators from Qingzhou, and the empowerment of the 10,000 soul banner came at the cost of the destruction of Qingzhou's righteous sect Guanchao Pavilion and the lives of over 100,000 cultivators. I also collected quite a lot of blood. Sujie nodded. He hadn't wasted the bloodshed by the corpses on the battlefield. Utilizing the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill, he absorbed a substantial amount of it. Although still a long way from reaching the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill's 11th layer, Sujie isn't one to let opportunities go to waste. Sect Master Zhang Junwei and several other high-ranking officials of Ghost Ridge Palace also flew to Sujie's side, their faces filled with joy. This battle had truly annihilated Guanchao Pavilion in one fell swoop. Even for those who experienced it firsthand, it was somewhat unbelievable. It was simply too surreal. Order all sect disciples to begin resting. Have Law Enforcement Hall disciples start inventorying the spoils and take over everything of Guanchao Pavilion. Sujie's gaze carried a smile as he issued the order. With Sujie's command, Ghost Ridge Palace's Law Enforcement Hall began clearing the battlefield. The Law Enforcement Hall is a department directly controlled by the Sect Master, comprised of disciples of the 6th level of the Yunling realm or higher, functioning as the Sect Master's personal troops. Everything on the battlefield, whether it be magic artifacts, magical treasures, spirit stones, or elixirs, was collected by these Law Enforcement Hall disciples. Even the bodies of deceased cultivators were recuperated one by one. Upon reaching the Lake Heart Island at the center of Firefly Sea, arriving at the core nest of Guanchao Pavilion, here shelves were filled with various magical items and treasure medicines, with heaps of spirit stones piled up like mountains. Even a mere floor tile was worth a dozen low-grade spirit stones. This made the demon cultivators, accustomed to impoverishment, stare wide-eyed, like beggars entering a mountain of gold, bedazzled by the immense wealth. We've struck it rich. Zhang Junwei and others who entered the Lake Heart Island with Sujie breathed heavily. Just with the spiritual materials for refining magical treasures, there were hundreds of portions in the treasury. These were Guanchao Pavilion's unused resources. As the leader of Qingzhou Righteous, Guanchao Pavilion had been entrenched in Qingzhou for over 1,000 years, endlessly scouring Qingzhou for wealth, truly making it the richest in Qingzhou. In the past, Sujie destroyed Purple Mist Sect and gained wealth amounting to tens of millions of spirit stones. Yet in front of Guanchao Pavilion, it was child's play. The wealth of Guanchao Pavilion roughly broke through the 10 billion spirit stone mark, an incredibly terrifying figure, especially considering the mid-grade spiritual treasure Green Wave Furious Tide Umbrella seized by Sujie, valued in the billions. Factoring in Guanchao Pavilion's spiritual mines, spirit plant fields, and other resource sites scattered across Qingzhou, this number would further skyrocket. And now, everything that Guanchao Pavilion owned would be absorbed into Ghost Ridge Palace's holdings. Even with Sujie's temperament, This wealth stirred his heart, let alone the other members of Ghost Ridge Palace. Later, let's discuss merit-based rewards and give our disciples some incentives. Besides, we can announce the results of this battle to the world. Let everyone rejoice. Tell the world we've dismantled the demon cave that was Guanchao Pavilion, and inform Qingzhou's major sects that there's a new ruler here. Su Jie's smile never faded. The gains from this battle were so vast it could be described as overnight fortune. But while the wealth is thrilling, it is not Su Jie's main focus. What truly matters to Su Jie is that Ghost Ridge Palace has ascended to the status of Guanchao Pavilion in Qingzhou. Next, Ghost Ridge Palace will be the strongest sect in Qingzhou, commanding respect across the land. Su Jie can implement his initiatives to transform it to fit his needs, better serving Ghost Ridge Palace and himself. With these thoughts, Su Jie returned to the underground palace on Lake Heart Island. Dong Yu's headless corpse still knelt there. The area around was chaotic from the previous battle. Su Jie walked to the bookshelf where the sect's classics were kept, protected by prohibitions. The battle's shockwaves hadn't damaged them. 9 Layers of the Sea, Heaven and Earth Tidal Wave Decision Manual, Golden Core Swallowing Sun Saber Technique. The treasures kept in this hidden underground palace are the most important core tomes of the Guanchao Pavilion, mainly comprised of water manipulation techniques. Each of these classics, if released to the outside world, could stir up tides of blood and chaos in the cultivation world. However, Su Jie's goal was not these books. For Su Jie now, there was no need to learn such water element techniques. It's better to focus on the depth rather than the breadth of cultivation techniques. Found it. Suddenly, Su Jie's eyes lit up as he found an ancient-looking classic text. Purple Palace Secret Words. Su Jie stared intently at this tome, for this was exactly what Su Jie wanted to find. Upon opening it, the content within was indeed as Su Jie had anticipated, all about cultivation in the Purple Mansion realm and the secrets of the Yang God. Since its founding, the Guanchao Pavilion had produced 3 Purple Mansion great powers over more than 1,000 years. Their insights and realizations about cultivation in the Purple Mansion realm, their research into it, and their exploration of the next level, the Cave Void realm, were all recorded in this classic text. In Su Jie's mind, this was the most valuable item in the Guanchao Pavilion. Ghost Ridge Palace did not possess this. Except for the founding patriarch, no subsequent Purple Mansion cultivators were able to break through that realm. With the long passage of time, and after multiple relocations, Ghost Ridge Palace either lost or abandoned the patriarch's legacy in the chaos of warfare. As Su Jie was nearing the cusp of advancing to the Purple Mansion realm, everything about this realm was like a dense fog, and he couldn't even discern its level distinctions. He desperately needed this knowledge about the Purple Mansion to clarify his cultivation path and guide his next steps forward. The Purple Mansion, reaching to the heavens, shall first transcend the mansion. Golden bed and jade table, dazzling brilliant. Sitting cross-legged, Su Jie opened the tome and began to study it meticulously, savoring the inner essence word by word. The more he read, the more Su Jie's furrowed brows relaxed. So it is the 3-layer realm of the Purple Mansion. My Yang God is almost at the 2nd layer. Su Jie murmured to himself, eyes filled with joy. Through studying this collection of insights from the generations of Purple Mansion great powers of the Guanchao Pavilion, Su Jie understood various aspects about the Purple Mansion realm. The Purple Mansion realm consists of 3 subdivisions: Purple Mansion, Upper Elixir, and Heavenly Palace, or it can be more simply categorized as Purple Mansion realm 1st layer, 2nd layer, and 3rd layer. 3 inches inward between the brows is the Purple Mansion, which is also the nurturer of the Yang God. To break through the Purple Mansion, one must clear the 7 orifices, counter the innateness, refine the tens of thousands of acupoints in the brain, and once accomplished, the Yang God may leave the body, achieving the Purple Mansion. However, Su Jie is an exception. He had already cultivated the Yang God at the Taoist platform realm, surpassing the hardest hurdle. Now, ascending to the Purple Mansion realm is just a matter of water polishing skills for Su Jie. Just breaking through to the Purple Mansion realm, the Yang God contained 10 golden cores, marking the 1st level of the Purple Mansion realm. At this level, it's necessary to continuously enhance the strength of the Yang God, essentially increasing the number of golden cores. When the number of golden cores reaches 99, or 9 multiplied by 9, 81 in total, one can then attempt to break through to Purple Mansion Realm's second layer, refining the upper elixir. The so-called upper elixir is located 1 inch 2 parts above the Purple Mansion, a void acupoint containing innate qi. Refining the upper elixir can counteract the human body's innate qi, remold the physical body, transform from acquired to innate, extending longevity by 1,000 years, and refining the physical body into an innate divine body, thereby achieving the might of the ancient heavenly people with every move and strike. But refining the upper elixir to the extreme results in opening the Sensing Heaven Palace, which corresponds to the Purple Mansion Realm third layer. The Heavenly Palace still aligns with the position of the upper elixir, requiring the cultivator to refine the virtual, materialize the real, and establish the Heavenly Palace. The term Purple Mansion in the Tianyuan world also denotes the residence of immortals, the palatial abode for immortals. The Purple Mansion third layer requires opening a grand and glorious palace within the brain's sea of consciousness to house the Yang God, allowing it to ascend the throne as an emperor, shepherding all sacred entities, becoming the sovereign of life. This multitude of sacred entities refers to the human cells, with each leaf representing a universe, each grain of sand a world, understanding the human body as a microcosm, with each cell containing immense power. Only by reaching the Purple Mansion Realm third layer can one fully delve into and extract the latent power of the human body. These 3 subdivisions represent the cultivation path of the Purple Mansion Realm. Currently, Sujie's Purple Mansion contains 72 golden cores, which means once he ascends to the Purple Mansion Realm, he could achieve the late stage of the Purple Mansion Realm first layer. Once the upper elixir is refined and the innate body is cultivated, he could immediately attain the cultivation of Purple Mansion Realm second layer. Yet, the Purple Mansion Realm third layer remains quite challenging for Sujie. Establishing a palace hall within the sea of consciousness seems a bit far-fetched. But what surprised Sujie the most was the fragmentary knowledge about the cave Void Realm recorded in this tome. The Void Realm practitioners refine the false into the true, transforming the pocket world into an external palace, complementing the human body universe, eventually becoming the hollow. Sujie pondered deeply, deducing from the text that advancing to the Void Realm likely requires refining a pocket world. However, as the tome described the cave Void Realm vaguely, because the Purple Mansion cultivator who wrote this hadn't even reached the third layer of their realm, their description of the Void Realm was largely speculative. The entire Dali dynasty, known from historical records, had only the founding emperor ever achieved the Void Realm. Subsequently, no one in the Dali dynasty ever reached this realm again. The history of Dali dynasty's establishment is too ancient to be verified. Even if there were strong practitioners of the Void Realm, they are buried deep within the river of history. It seems the knowledge about the Void Realm lies with the Dali royal family. Gaining this insight, Sujie realized that to understand the path to the Void Realm, seeking out the Dali royal family is surely the right approach. The fall of Guanchao Pavilion, the death of 100,000 righteous cultivators, and the rise of Ghost Ridge Palace as the undisputed overlord of Qingzhou lamentably mark the region's future as dark and dismal. Following the battle at Firefly Sea, the news of Ghost Ridge Palace's ultimate triumph spread like wildfire. This sent ripples throughout Qingzhou, the Dali dynasty, and shocked both the righteous sects and demon sects of the world. Many people initially heard that Ghost Ridge Palace declared war on Guanchao Pavilion. Outside Qingzhou, most cultivators who had heard of this thought Ghost Ridge Palace was overestimating its capabilities. For so many years, the righteous had always suppressed the demonic, and Guanchao Pavilion was the leader of Qingzhou's righteous sections. For a previously obscure demon sect like Ghost Ridge Palace to launch an attack seemed like asking for death. But when the news of utter annihilation of the Guanchao Pavilion and Ghost Ridge Palace's rise to dominance arose, countless people were bewildered. The power center of Dali dynasty, after Ghost Ridge Palace had annihilated the commander they sent, Meng Hui, had intended to take action. With this news, their plans had to be halted, opting to observe the situation closely. In Chongzhou, the stronghold for demonic sects, the news caused equal shock, with many demon sects expressing envy, not only for Ghost Ridge Palace's plunder of immense fortune from Guanchao Pavilion, but also for the power to become the voice of Qingzhou. In Qing Province, the Fire Cloud Palace, which had previously clashed with Sujie, was astounded. Upon hearing that their old rival, Guanchao Pavilion, had perished at Sujie's hands, the upper echelon of Fire Cloud Palace was terrified, swiftly ordering their sect to heighten vigilance and actively prepare war supplies, with the red shining immortal palace ready to mobilize at any moment. In Qingzhou, righteous sects felt as if the sky had collapsed. Having always seen Guanchao Pavilion as their backbone, its demise left them with no central pillar of support, and Ghost Ridge Palace became undoubtedly the strongest sect in Qingzhou. They were destined to deal with this demon sect in the future, leaving these righteous sects uneasy, unsure whether Ghost Ridge Palace would wage war to annex them or find other ways to trouble them. Soon enough, their anticipation wasn't long drawn. On the third day after the fall of Guanchao Pavilion, an invitation was sent to various sects in Qingzhou from Ghost Ridge Palace, inviting them to attend a gathering a week later, initiated by Su Sect Master Sujie, the foremost figure in Qingzhou. Despite their reluctance, these sects had no choice but to accept and prepare to attend. Given the current strength of Qingzhou's righteous sects, they had no chance against Ghost Ridge Palace. Of all the righteous sects in Qingzhou, only 2 Taoist platform realm experts remained to stand against Ghost Ridge Palace, not to mention the commanding presence of Sujie, this formidable demon. The mere name of Sujie was enough to suppress Qingzhou's righteous sects. Just as Qingzhou was being annexed by Ghost Ridge Palace, reaching for the position of the dominant power in Qingzhou, the recently renowned Sujie quietly departed from the area where Guanchao Pavilion was located, arriving at a desolate mountain wilderness. Accompanying Sujie was the ghost bride, Han Ruyan. To be precise, this trip was especially for Han Ruyan. Husband. Han Ruyan turned around, holding Sujie's hand. A slight smile appeared on her perfect face. Please keep watching me. I will stay here all along. Sujie nodded, then sat down cross-legged. Han Ruyan stopped speaking. Her cold, lifeless eyes gazed at Sujie, and her steps gradually retreated. The fiery red wedding dress on her body gradually faded, slowly transforming towards the 9th grade fierce ghost. In the sect war with Guanchao Pavilion, Han Ruyan absorbed a vast amount of fear energy, fear, despair, and unwillingness from cultivators in their dying moments, which became the nourishment for Han Ruyan's growth, allowing her to finally meet the conditions to become a 9th grade fierce ghost. Rumble. The sky dome had somehow gathered clusters of dark clouds, faintly blood-colored. These blood-colored clouds pressed down on the wilderness like a giant hand, causing withered trees to tremble in the wind. It's coming. Sujie watched the scene unblinkingly, recognizing it as the Thunder Tribulation. Ghosts were not tolerated by the Tianyuan world, let alone a 9th grade fierce ghost. Even Sujie felt a chill at the formidable power of the Thunder Tribulation. Crackle! A bolt of blood-colored lightning streaked across the sky, with unstoppable momentum, directly hitting Han Ruyan. The blinding thunder expanded madly, forming a lightning pool hundreds of meters in radius. The terrifying blood-colored thunder surged wildly there, each bolt capable of blasting a secret realm cultivator to pieces. Nonetheless, under such heavenly bombardment, Han Ruyan's figure flashed briefly. When she appeared again, Han Ruyan, the ghost bride, was floating barefoot in midair, her 3,000 strands of hair dancing wildly against the wind, looking up at the blood-colored tribulation cloud above. Come on! Han Ruyan flew onto the highest peak nearby, her gaze imperious, her voice issuing a soul-stirring chill. Boom! As if provoked, the blood-colored tribulation clouds in the sky began to rage, not only brewing blood-colored lightning but also golden flames falling, forming a dual thunderfire tribulation cloud. The whole mountain peak trembled, cracks resembling cobwebs appeared on the mountain body, rubble rolled into the deep chasm, and towering ancient trees growing there ignited with an invisible flame, forming a wildfire enveloping the entire mountain peak. Time and space seemed to stagnate. The next moment, 9 bloodstains streaked across the sky dome, as if the heavens were weeping blood tears, or like a god opening blood-gold vertical pupils. Some of these blood-colored lightning bolts transformed into three-headed Jiaolong, occupying the clouds above, their roars quaking and shattering countless living creatures below. Some turned into gilded phoenix, whose wings spread wide, releasing a sea of fire upon the world, burning the earth into magma lakes. Others transformed into a supreme emperor, crowned, with imperial aura shaking the world, causing the void to crack with black scars, turning rocks and trees to dust. The power of this thunder tribulation was so intimidating that merely witnessing it was hair-raising. A regular Dao platform realm cultivator might not withstand even a single tribulation lightning here. Wife, be careful. Su Jie could not help but stand. His palm flickered with purple cloud heavenly thunder. He was uncertain if it was because Han Ruyan, as a heavenly spinning jade light body turned ghost empress, her tribulation was unexpectedly powerful, far beyond normal standards. Even Su Jie sensed a hint of danger. Han Ruyan did not speak, merely opened her blood-colored wedding dress, heading against the stream toward the sky. Boom, 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 boom. 9 strikes of heavenly lightning descended in an instant, the air bursting with a scorched odor. Without giving Han Ruyan time to respond, her blood-colored wedding dress couldn't entirely withstand the assault. Much of it turned to flying ash instantly. In the void, one could see large parts of Han Ruyan's body disintegrating, the tips of her hair igniting with ghostly blue flames. Explosive lightning and golden flame turbulence engulfed the mountaintop entirely. Amidst the lightning, large portions of Han Ruyan's body dissipated. Thick yin qi spewed from her broken body parts, restoring her form. An even more astonishing phenomenon occurred. Under the extremely strong and yang tribulation lightning, the nature of the yin qi surging in Han Ruyan's body began to change, from extreme cold to warm. The once lifeless, eerie yin qi became vibrant, filled with intense life force. Visibly to the naked eye, the missing parts of Han Ruyan's body began to regrow thread by thread, with white jade-like bones connecting. Flesh fit onto the skeleton, skin radiating a sheen like mutton jade, her waist like willow swaying in the water, her wrist bones delicate as jade carving. Such trifling tribulation lightning, that's all it is. Suddenly, Han Ruyan let out a clear, cold shout. The tribulation lightning in the sky transformed into countless blood-colored light spots, swirling like vortices into her deep red blood-colored wedding dress, forming embroidered bloodline phoenixes, swimming across the dress. The dress with woven gold patterns became even more dazzlingly breathtaking. The tribulation lightning from the sky was still striking, but Han Ruyan reached out, crushing the lightning into pieces. As the entire tribulation cloud merged into her blood-colored wedding dress, sunlight poured upon the earth, shining on Han Ruyan's body. In an instant, Han Ruyan instinctively lifted her arm, feeling the warmth of the sunlight after a long interval. As a fierce ghost, she never feared sunlight, but even when exposed to it, she never felt the warmth. Now the sunlight felt to her as if it was shining on a living person. So, this is the 9th grade, Han Ruyan murmured to herself. At this moment, she had already restored all her memories from when she was alive. Even her body was the same as that of an ordinary person. The first thing Han Ruyan thought of was Su Jie, and her gaze followed that thought. My lady, have you reached the 9th grade? Su Jie had already come before Han Ruyan, looking at her in amazement. The current Han Ruyan gave Su Jie a peculiar feeling. With his yang god, looking at Han Ruyan gave him the impression of an ordinary person. Yet, Han Ruyan was supposed to be an unparalleled ghost. Now even his yang god couldn't see through her true form. Su Jie scrutinized Han Ruyan. On her bright red wedding dress, 99 golden-threaded phoenixes rose and fell with her breath. The ends of her phoenix eyes were tinged with peach-colored rouge, her lips painted with cherry-colored lipstick, teeth like white pearls, and her skin as snow-white as fresh snow. Her delicate, jade-like beautiful face blushed faintly, reminiscent of vermilion accidentally dripped on white paper. To Su Jian, she looked every bit like a newlywed bride, indistinguishable from a living being. Is this how my lord remembers my ninth-grade appearance? Han Ruyin gently smiled, flicking her wide wedding sleeve. Instantly, Han Ruyin's embroidered shoes lifted 3 inches off the ground, and the hem of her wedding dress fluttered without wind. The wedding dress turned even redder, emitting a dim blood-like glow, as if it had soaked in blood for 9 days and nights. Her eyes shone with a cold light like a 1,000-year-old pond, and the delicate skin at the corners of her eyes began to crack, with fine beads of blood seeping from each crack. Her appearance became fierce, and a mountain-crushing wave of energy erupted from her body, turning the surroundings for miles around into a rusty blood color. Each blade of grass and tree quickly withered, forming withered tree demons like those of legends. The sky, for some reason, was filled with countless pieces of paper money, and one by one, rouge-painted paper figures covered the mountain. Even a huge fierce ghost carrying a large red flower sedan chair, kneeling respectfully behind Han Ruyin. Su Jie looked up at the blood-colored cold moon rising above, then lowered his head to look at Han Ruyin. His gaze meeting hers, a subtle feeling arose in his heart. Su Jie's yang god actually sounded an alarm, for Han Ruyin now made even his yang god feel on high alert. This was indeed the might of a true 9th-grade fierce ghost. This power, even the Purple Mansion realm, is no more than this. Su Jie couldn't help but say. Han Ruyin's power was now fully revealed. Su Jie's yang god realm, even at that, could feel threatened by Han Ruyin, which was enough to show what a terrifying leap in strength she had achieved after advancing to the 9th grade. You see, Su Jie's yang god realm had as many as 72 golden cores, and someone like Di Feng of Guanchao Pavilion in the Purple Mansion realm couldn't pose any threat to Su Jie, easily dealt with in just a few moves. So, for Han Ruyin to make Su Jie feel a strong sense of threat, her combat power definitely reached the level of the Purple Mansion. After all, she was the Ghost Empress, far stronger in combat than any fierce ghost of the same level. Does the Lord like that appearance of mine? Han Ruyin let her sleeves fall, gently exploring Su Jie's chest, her voice carrying a cold smile. I like every form of you, after all. No matter how you change, you're still my lady. Su Jie responded immediately, drawing the gaze of Han Ruyin's still eyes. Truly, the Lord is quite good at sweet-talking. No wonder Lu Yingying is so infatuated with you. Han Ruyin said this as she turned elegantly, facing Su Jie again, returning to that initial exquisite bridal appearance. Her skin was as white as snow, her eyes pure and flawless, like a black gemstone, lacking the fierceness of a ghost, but gaining the allure any beauty should have. Today is the day you advance to the 9th grade. Let's not talk about other things. Su Jie decisively changed the topic and reached out to embrace Han Ruyin, to prevent her from overthinking. Yet, as soon as he touched her, Su Jie could feel a warm, delicate, and smooth sensation, something he had never felt before. My lady, have you already gained a body of flesh and blood? Su Jie was delighted, for in the past, no matter how much Han Ruyin appeared like a human, she had no physical form, existing more as an illusionary presence. But now, Han Ruyin, her body had developed a physical form indistinguishable from humans. This was no mere illusion or construct of energy, but a genuine body, no different from a normal human's. Advancing to the 9th grade has to bring some changes, right? Han Ruyin smiled, her face tinged with a soft blush. Having restored all her memories, her nature seemed to have returned to that of a gentlewoman from when she was alive, losing some coldness, gaining a little more maidenly charm. Su Jie was continuously surprised and couldn't help but laugh. My lady, you're blushing? Aren't we long-time partners, sharing a bed countless times? But we haven't taken the final step yet. It's not real. Han Ruyin's voice was ethereal, her eyes full of a peach-colored glow. As she spoke, she couldn't help but lower her head shyly, daring not to meet Su Jie's gaze. It was the first time Su Jie had seen such a girlish side to Han Ruyin. Before she advanced to the 9th grade, when talking about love affairs, she was always cold and decisive, even saying she'd give her body to Su Jie after becoming 9th grade. Now Han Ruyin had advanced to the 9th grade, but she didn't bring it up anymore. Having regained her memories, her temperament had changed, and she could not easily bring up such shy matters. However, although Han Ruyan was shy, now it was Su Jie's turn to not want to miss the chance. The freshness made Su Jie couldn't help but laugh. "My lady, since you've said so, and tonight the moonlight is beautiful, let's not waste this beautiful scene. Let's go to the bridal chamber, my lady." Saying so, Su Jie picked up Han Ruyan. Han Ruyan's eyes adorably widened, struggling a bit in test, finally letting Su Jie do as he wished, pointing to that large red flower sedan chair. "Where to go?" "All right." Su Jie laughed heartily, walking into the flower sedan chair with large steps. Inside the flower sedan chair was a world of its own. It was set up like a wedding chamber, with red candles burning in gilt candlesticks, the curtains embroidered with happy mandarin ducks, a step bed carved robust and sturdy, with a large happiness word pasted on the bedhead, creating an overall sense of ceremony. Upon seeing this, Su Jie, holding Han Ruyan, lifted the gold-threaded curtain. In a short while, the step bed began to creak. As the saying goes, last night dewdrops on begonias, a few delicate flowers swaying as if about to speak. Beauty sees the words, grows tender in anger, doesn't believe dead flowers surpass living people. She crushes the flowers, tossing them in front of the young man, inviting him to sleep with the flowers tonight. After a joyful night, the next morning, amidst the mountains and fields, dewdrops slid off emerald leaves. Thunk! As the dewdrop fell, it landed right on the flower sedan chair. Su Jie slowly opened his eyes from sleep, and as soon as he did, he saw Han Ruyan fully dressed, standing with her back to him, grooming herself in front of a copper mirror, like a prim and proper lady. For a moment, Su Jie almost thought everything that happened last night was a dream. However, the faint scent lingering at his nose had already told Su Jie this was no dream. "I couldn't have imagined I would achieve such a feat one day." Su Jie sighed inwardly, thinking of how he used to watch stories like A Chinese Ghost Story, never imagining he would one day accomplish such a thing. But I should say, although a female ghost, Han Ruyan's charm was far superior to ordinary women, enchanting and exquisite. "What mischief are you thinking now?" At some point, Han Ruyan turned around, her phoenix eyes looking at Su Jie, her expression somewhere between joy and reproach. "Thinking of my lady. Being able to marry you is a blessing of 3 lifetimes." Su Jie stood up from the bed, dressing himself. Han Ruyan snorted softly, turning her head. "Stop with those words. Save them for Lu Yingying." Su Jie's mouth twitched. Why bring this up again? Even though Han Ruyan regained her memories from when she was alive, this matter of jealousy, whether you're a ghost or human, it doesn't diminish one bit. Humph. Seeing Su Jie not replying, Han Ruyan rolled her eyes, walked out of the flower sedan chair, and ignored him. Su Jie rubbed his nose helplessly, feeling that when it comes to romance, he still had a long way to go. A brief separation is like a newlywed bliss. Su Jie spent 3 pleasant days with Han Ruyan. After 3 days, Su Jie did not return to Guanchao Pavilion with Han Ruyan but instead openly went to the location of the Heavenly Soul Sect. The sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace is visiting. Quickly inform the sect master. When the disciples of the Heavenly Soul Sect saw Su Jie, recognized his identity, they dared not hesitate and promptly went to inform their sect master. Su Jie walked through Nanyang City as if no one else were present. He was not unfamiliar with this city. This was actually his 3rd visit here. The city of Nanyang still houses quite a number of common people, trapped here by the Heavenly Soul Sect. Through the contrived night parade of 100 demons, they harvest fear energy to promote ghosts. As Su Jie walked through, many Heavenly Soul Sect disciples curiously yet nervously observed Su Jie. A person's fame spreads like the shadow of a tree. Su Jie's demonic might is known by everyone in Qingzhou, especially after Su Jie led Ghost Ridge Palace to destroy Guanchao Pavilion. His reputation soared, becoming a symbolic figure for the demon path in the Dali dynasty, a true benchmark. Though the Heavenly Soul Sect is also of the demon path, compared to Su Jie leading Ghost Ridge Palace, it seems quite like a pauper. Is that Su Jie? Fool, you dare to call his name directly. You should address him as Blood Demon Ancestor. The beauty beside him is so gorgeous. These disciples of the Heavenly Soul sect whispered among themselves until the leading elder shouted angrily, afraid they might offend such a big figure like Su Jie. Get out of here if you keep gossiping. I'll skin you alive. At these words, the watching Heavenly Soul sect disciples scattered at once. Su Jie smiled silently. These disciples of Heavenly Soul sect were experts at manipulating fierce ghosts, but as Han Rian walked alongside Su Jie, none of them could discern Han Rian's identity as a ghost, including the leading Secret Realm elder ahead, who thought Han Rian was a living person. Of course, it was also because Han Rian had changed clothes and wasn't wearing her signature blood-colored wedding dress. Su Sect Master graces us with his presence. Forgive us for not welcoming you sooner. Su Jie wasn't kept waiting for long. Upon hearing the news of Su Jie's arrival, the Heavenly Soul Sect Master Lu Jingshi led numerous senior figures of the sect to warmly greet Su Jie. Sect Master Lu, long time no see. I hope you've been well. I've come over uninvited to reminisce a bit. I hope it doesn't disturb you all. Su Jie showed a smiling face, politely, making it difficult for Lu Jingshi to see Su Jie's specific intentions. For Lu Jingshi at this moment, Su Jie's arrival is not good news because he knows that powerhouses like Su Jie, with his status and strength, seldom come without purpose. The visitor definitely has certain objectives. This is also what concerns Lu Jingshi the most, as the relationship between the Heavenly Soul Sect and Ghost Ridge Palace isn't very solid. The two demon sects were able to cooperate closely in the past due to the lip and teeth documentation, with both Ghost Ridge Palace and the Heavenly Soul Sect suppressed by righteous sects in Qingzhou. They could only overcome difficulties by cooperating to form an alliance. But now, with Guanchao Pavilion destroyed, the natural conditions for close cooperation between the Heavenly Soul Sect and Ghost Ridge Palace no longer exist, leaving no choice for Lu Jingshi but to ponder deeply. What are you saying, Su Sect Master? We're excited to have you. Your presence at our Heavenly Soul Sect is an honor. Please come in. Though Lu Jingshi had worries within him, he showed no signs, still welcoming Su Jie with a smile and inviting him into the guest hall. After the maids served tea and water, both parties exchanged pleasantries and naturally, the conversation led to the recent battle against Guanchao Pavilion. Su Sect Master truly showcased the might of our demon path, destroying Guanchao Pavilion in one battle, re-establishing our demon path's formidable reputation. It truly boosts our demon path prestige, making us demon cultivators proud. Lu Jingshi complimented him, and several Secret Realm elders seated nearby also nodded in agreement. Thanks to Su Sect Master for eliminating the venom of Guanchao Pavilion in Qingzhou, our development will no longer be limited. It's wonderful. For years, Guanchao Pavilion has bullied and oppressed Qingzhou, and even dared to unite major sects to attack us. This is retribution for evil deeds. It's a pity that I didn't participate back then and couldn't witness Su Sect Master's overwhelming demonic might. Truly a major regret in life. These Secret Realm elders had thoughts of flattery but also carried a few true sentiments. After all, Su Jie's achievements were undeniably real. Guanchao Pavilion was the leader of righteous sects in Qing Province. Its strength was beyond doubt. Yet it couldn't withstand Su Jie leading Ghost Ridge Palace's assault. This is enough to prove the terrifying strength of Su Jie. It's a trivial matter, not worth mentioning. Let's not keep complimenting. Su Jie waved his hand and finally brought up the real reason for his visit to the Heavenly Soul Sect today. To tell you the truth, I came to the Heavenly Soul Sect this time with important matters to discuss. With these words from Su Jie, the scene quickly became quiet. Lu Jingshi felt a jolt in his heart and showed a somewhat stiff smile. Su Sect Master, speak freely. As long as the Heavenly Soul Sect can accomplish it, we will not hesitate even for a fraction. Now that Sect Master Lu has put it this way, I'm relieved. Su Jie nodded and looked at Han Ruyan on the other side. Han Ruyan slowly stood up, drawing the attention of the entire room. Because at that moment Han Ruyan was transforming. Her originally pure white dress was dyed a deep crimson as if soaked in blood. As the blood-colored wedding dress transformed, the eerie and chilling atmosphere spread, causing the temperature in the guest hall to drop instantly. As if entering the depths of winter, nearly freezing the bodily fluids of everyone present. This sudden scene startled the senior figures of the Heavenly Soul sect, and as Han Ruyin switched back to her blood-colored wedding dress, they suddenly realized that Han Ruyin was actually a female ghost, and not an ordinary one at that. After Han Ruyin revealed her identity, each of the elders felt an array of discomfort in their bodies, the ghost dwelling within them trembling in fear, as if seeing an emperor and wanting to submit. These secret realm elders deeply sensed Han Ruyin's power, yet still couldn't discern her exact grade. Only Lu Jingshi, a strong figure of the Taoist platform realm, had any suspicions, as the 8th grade fierce ghost inside him, the Earth Evil Ghost, was now trembling uncontrollably, something never happened before. Thus, seeing Han Ruyin, Lu Jingshi seemed to understand something and said in shock and uncertainty, "Wait a minute, this ain't Qi, 9th grade?" As soon as these words were spoken, the scene was instantly in an uproar. What? 9th grade fierce ghost? How is that possible? Sect Master, what are you talking about? 9th grade fierce ghost, that's impossible. The elders of the Heavenly Soul sect were in shock. A 9th grade fierce ghost was already considered a legendary existence within the Heavenly Soul sect. Even Lu Jingshi, the sect master, possessed a most potent fierce ghost, merely an 8th grade fierce ghost Earth Evil Ghost, lacking too much to the 9th grade, seeing no hope of advancement in this lifetime. Sect Master Lu, this is my wife, the Ghost Bride. As you see, she is of the 9th grade. Su Jie introduced, affirming Lu Jingshi's suspicion. Han Ruyin did not speak, merely standing behind Su Jie, her long black hair fluttering in the wind, the blood-colored wedding dress moving without wind, coldly elegant and noble. Her gaze alone causing the Heavenly Soul sect elders' bodies to tense, the ghosts within some silencing to a dead stop, and others even directly detaching from their hosts, bowing and kneeling before Han Ruyin, making moves to submit. This is the power of the Ghost Empress. After ascending to 9th grade, Han Ruyin viewed any ghost as mere small fry. A 9th grade fierce ghost even of the same level couldn't stand firm before Han Ruyin, let alone these ghosts below 9th grade, as if a grandson seeing a grandfather, too frightened to move. Indeed, a 9th grade fierce ghost, truly 9th grade fierce ghost. No wonder Guanchao Pavilion was wiped out. Lu Jingshi's mouth opened wide, feeling both excitement and a touch of fear inside. 9th grade fierce ghosts are the kind of ghosts that generations of sect masters of the Heavenly Soul sect have aspired to, yet the difficulty in cultivating such level fierce ghosts is extremely high, needing the accumulation of an unfathomable amount of fear energy. Over the centuries, no one in the Heavenly Soul sect managed to cultivate a 9th grade fierce ghost. It's reduced to nothing more than a legend within the Heavenly Soul sect. Lu Jingshi couldn't figure out for the life of him how Su Jie had managed to cultivate such a 9th grade fierce ghost, especially a ghost bride like this, undefeated at the same level, requiring far more fear energy than ghosts of the same level. Knowing the rarity and power of 9th grade fierce ghosts, Lu Jingshi suddenly realized and finally understood why Guanchao Pavilion fell so effortlessly, as a single 9th grade fierce ghost is sufficient to turn the tide of battle. Sect Master Lu, my purpose here today is for my wife. After ascending to 9th grade, which path to take, I ask Sect Master Lu for guidance. Su Jie waved his hand, knowing that after Han Ruyin ascended to 9th grade, there are definitely higher realms, but how to cultivate or refine Su Jie had no clue, yet the Heavenly Soul sect surely had relevant records. This. Lu Jingshi moved his lips and finally began to speak. Sect Master Su, since you've asked, although this is an undisclosed secret of our Heavenly Soul sect, for the generations spanning friendship between our sects, I will not hold back. While speaking, Lu Jingshi patted the storage bag at his waist and took out a jade scroll from it, handing it to Su Jie. This contains the insights and understandings of our ancestors regarding 9th grade fierce ghosts. It's just that we descendants can't carry forward the glory of the previous ancestors, as it's been several hundred years without cultivating a 9th grade fierce ghost. Thus, this jade scroll holds little use for our Heavenly Soul sect. Better it be given to Sect Master Su for efficacy, to revive the splendor of our 9 nether ghost cultivation technique. It must be said Lu Jingshi was very discerning, or rather cautious. Only hesitating for a few seconds, he offered this jade scroll, a secret regarded as the topmost within his sect. Sect Master, this is against the rules. A Heavenly Soul Sect elder couldn't help but speak out that such a jade scroll is the fundamental teaching handed down through generations in the Heavenly Soul Sect. How could it be given to an outsider like Sujia? Circumstances dictate actions. My word is the rule. Lu Jingshi turned back, glaring harshly at the dissenting elder, an expression of frustration. This fellow didn't get it. Sujia isn't just anybody, not to exaggerate, but merely the 9th grade ghost bride could annihilate the Heavenly Soul Sect entirely. If they don't agree now, wouldn't that mean forcing Sujia to destroy the Heavenly Soul Sect to retrieve the Jade Scroll? Either way, it would just entail putting in a bit more effort. Lu Jingshi had no doubt Sujia could do such a thing. Remembering the recent destruction of Guanchao Pavilion, Lu Jingshi dared not gamble on Sujia's conscience. Moreover, demon cultivators, there is no such thing as conscience. The majority of elders present understood this, all remaining silent, acquiescing to Lu Jingshi's actions. Sujia looked at the jade scroll handed to him and asked, "Sect Master Lu, does it trouble you? This jade scroll following Sect Master Su is its honor. How could it trouble me?" Lu Jingshi licked his old face, this demeanor making many Heavenly Soul Sect elders feel somewhat ashamed, as this flattery was excessively sycophantic, lacking any dignity of a demon sect master. This being the case, wonderful indeed. Sujia let out a soft chuckle, contentedly accepting it. Originally Sujia thought it would take a bit more means, but didn't expect Lu Jingshi to be so agreeable, sparing Sujia from a bloodshed. Considering the long-standing cooperation with the Heavenly Soul Sect, a massacre would harm the reputation if spread. Sect Master Su, do you have any other instructions? No need, today's matters are resolved. I won't intrude further upon Sect Master Lu. However, remember the meeting 3 days from now, where we will have a thorough discussion about establishing Ghost Ridge Palace's outer office and the Heavenly Soul Sect branch. Sujia patted Lu Jingshi on the shoulder, then departed gracefully with Han Ruyan. Lu Jingshi's body was rigid, for he heard Sujia's last words. What was inevitable didn't end up dodged. Sect Master, what did Sujia mean by that sentence about Ghost Ridge Palace branch? After Sujia had left, the Heavenly Soul Sect elders collectively breathed a sigh of relief. The psychological pressure from Han Ruyan was too immense. In case of conflict, their ghosts simply couldn't oppose Han Ruyan. Maybe even being controlled and devoured by her was possible. You still don't understand? The other side has targeted our Heavenly Soul Sect, intending to swallow us up. Lu Jingshi gave a bitter smile, directly revealing this point. Two tigers cannot coexist on one mountain. Ghost Ridge Palace now dominating Qingzhou, with the presence of their Heavenly Soul Sect, such an uncontrolled demon path. If he were Sujia, he wouldn't allow Heavenly Soul Sect to freely run under his nose, but would choose to bring it under control. The Heavenly Soul Sect elders present, upon hearing this, most remained silent. Only a few, unable to see the situation clearly, became furious. No, our Heavenly Soul Sect has a legacy of 1,000 years. Integrating into Ghost Ridge Palace is unacceptable. Ghost Ridge Palace is discarding us after use. We help them in sect wars. Don't they have a conscience? Sujia, this devil, has no conscience at all for thinking to annex our Heavenly Soul Sect. The few who understood this were silent, but those who still didn't comprehend the situation started to vent angrily once Sujia was no longer present. Now isn't the time for formalities. My word is the rule. Lu Jingshi turned back and glared furiously at the rebuffing elder, with an expression of disappointed parent. This guy still doesn't get it who Sujia is. It's no exaggeration to say, just a 9th grade ghost bride is enough to wipe out the whole Heavenly Soul Sect. Now, if we don't agree, wouldn't that mean we'd be allowing Sujia to destroy the Heavenly Soul Sect and then take out the Jade Scroll afterwards? It wouldn't make any difference, only more effort taken. Lu Jingshi had no doubt Sujia could do such a thing. The recent downfall of Guanchao Pavilion was still fresh in mind. How could Lu Jingshi dare to gamble on Sujia's conscience? Besides, with demon cultivators, is there such thing as a conscience? Most elders present understood this point, and they all fell silent, tacitly approving of Lu Jingshi's action. Sujia, looking at the jade scroll brought to him, asked, "Sect Master Lu, is this causing you difficulty?" "It is an honor for this jade scroll to follow Sect Master Su. How could that be difficult?" Lu Jingshi, with a fawning demeanor, replied, causing many Heavenly Soul Sect elders to feel a sense of shame, as the flattery was excessively obsequious, devoid of any respect for the dignity of a demon sect leader. "Well, that is splendid." Su Jie chuckled softly twice, contentedly accepting it. Originally, Su Jie thought some effort would be necessary, but didn't expect Lu Jingshi to comply so easily, sparing him the trouble. Such an action was impressive. "Sect Master Su, is there anything else you wish to instruct me on?" "With this jade scroll accompanying Sect Master Su, it is its honor. How could it be troublesome?" In the end, Lu Jingshi spoke, "Sect Master Su, for the sake of maintaining friendly relations between our two sects, I won't be stingy." Amidst speaking, Lu Jingshi tapped the storage bag at his waist, retrieved a jade scroll, and handed it to Su Jie. "This contains insights and understanding of our ancestors on the 9th grade Fierce Ghost, but we, later generations, are incompetent, unable to inherit the glory of our predecessors, and have not cultivated a 9th grade Fierce Ghost for hundreds of years. Therefore, this jade scroll remains here with us, holding minimal value to the Heavenly Soul Sect. It's better to hand it over to Su Sect Master and see the revival of our 9 Nether Ghost cultivation technique with it." You must admit, Lu Jingshi was very understanding of the times, or perhaps simply acted in self-preservation, handing over this most secretly cherished jade scroll just after hesitating for a few seconds. "Sect Master, this is against the rules." A Heavenly Soul Sect elder couldn't help himself. Such a jade scroll is the core scripture passed down through the generations in the Heavenly Soul Sect. How can it be given to an outsider like Su Jie? "Circumstances have changed. My word is the rule now." Lu Jingshi turned back, glaring harshly at the dissenting elder, exuding visible disappointment. This person doesn't understand the situation. Su Jie, given the 9th grade Ghost Bride alone, from the Heavenly Soul Sect could obliterate them entirely. Refusing now would only leave the option for Su Jie to destroy the Heavenly Soul Sect and then take the Jade Scroll. It would just take a bit more effort. Lu Jingshi had no doubt that Su Jie would do such a thing. Having recently witnessed the downfall of Guanchao Pavilion, Lu Jingshi dared not wager on Su Jie's conscience. Besides, demon cultivators, there is no such thing as a conscience for them. The majority of the elders present understood this point. All kept silent, accepting Lu Jingshi's action without objection. Su Jie looked at the jade scroll handed to him and asked, "Sect Master Lu, is it not difficult for you?" "Following Sect Master Su is the honor of this jade scroll. How could it be difficult?" Lu Jingshi licked his old lips, a behavior that made many Heavenly Soul Sect elders feel a bit ashamed, as such sycophantic flattery lacked any dignity of a demon sect master. "In that case, it is very good indeed." Su Jie chuckled softly, satisfied as he accepted it. Originally, Su Jie thought it would require some means, but did not expect Lu Jingshi to agree so readily, sparing Su Jie the trouble, lest he have to destroy the Heavenly Soul Sect to retrieve the Jade Scroll, which would be more effort in any case. "Sect Master Su, do you have any further instructions?" "This Jade Scroll following Sect Master Su is its honor. How would it be troublesome?" Lu Jingshi, wearing a fawning face, made many of the Heavenly Soul Sect elders feel somewhat embarrassed, as such flattery was indeed excessively obsequious, losing the dignity of a demon sect master entirely. "As such, it is truly excellent." Su Jie chuckled softly twice, fully satisfied as he accepted it. Initially, Su Jie thought some effort would be needed, but did not expect Lu Jingshi to be so compliant, sparing Su Jie the trouble of having to destroy the Heavenly Soul Sect to retrieve the Jade Scroll. A little more effort would have been for naught. "Sect Master Lu, is there anything else you need? Moreover, taking this Jade Scroll from Sect Master Su is an honor. How could it be difficult?" Lu Jingshi, with a fawning demeanor, made many of the Heavenly Soul Sect elders feel somewhat embarrassed. This bootlicking was simply too servile, lacking any of the dignity a demon sect master should have. "Thus, very well." Su Jie chuckled a couple of times, collecting it with satisfaction. Originally, Su Jie thought some means or effort would be necessary, but didn't expect Lu Jingshi to be so understanding and save Su Jie the difficulty of bloodying the Heavenly Soul Sect to extract the Jade Scroll. Sect Master Su, is there anything else you would like to instruct? Su Jie glanced at the offered Jade Scroll and asked, Sect Master Lu, is it not a burden for you? This Jade Scroll being entrusted to Sect Master Su's care is a privilege in itself, so how could it be a trouble? Lu Jingshi, with a sycophantically agreeable demeanor, made many of the Heavenly Soul Sect elders feel a certain shame over his flattery, thinking it too fawning with no semblance of the dignity expected from a demon sect master. Such is indeed delightful. Su Jie chuckled softly twice, accepting the Jade Scroll with satisfaction. Originally, Su Jie thought it might have required some effort to persuade, but didn't expect Lu Jingshi to be so accommodating, sparing him the trouble and avoiding unnecessary conflict with the destruction of the Heavenly Soul Sect in the process. Sect Master Su, is there anything else you require? To guard this Jade Scroll with Sect Master Su is an honor for it. How could it be any trouble? The obsequious flattery had made several Heavenly Soul Sect elders feel a bit ashamed, lacking the dignity awaited from a demon sect master. In that case, it is indeed wonderful. Su Jie chuckled lightly a couple of times, satisfied as he accepted it. Initially, Su Jie thought he might need to resort to some methods to persuade him, but he didn't expect Lu Jingshi to be so willing, saving Su Jie the trouble of having to eradicate the Heavenly Soul Sect to obtain the Jade Scroll. Sect Master Su, is there anything else you need instructed? No, all is satisfied. Today's affairs are settled. However, I would like to request that your Heavenly Soul Sect discuss the establishment of an outer institute of Ghost Ridge Palace, so we can talk further. Su Jie patted Lu Jingshi on the shoulder, then departed gracefully with Han Ruyan. Lu Jingshi's entire body tensed, for he had heard Su Jie's final words and realized that the inevitable was still impending. Ah, the day will come. The Heavenly Soul Sect elder let out a long sigh. Thinking about being carved up by Ghost Ridge Palace in 3 days left his heart uneasy. However, I am not the only one to suffer. Those righteous sects in Qingzhou are probably more anxious than I am. The sole consolation for Lu Jingshi was those righteous sects in Qingzhou, who would likely bear the brunt of Ghost Ridge Palace's blade even more intensely, for sided with Guanchao Pavilion earlier. A week went by in a flash. The original location of Guanchao Pavilion, which was once filled with corpses and blood, has been cleaned up. But looking at the shattered terrain, the forest turned into a wasteland, rivers redirected, and towering dead volcanoes. One can easily tell it was caused by the heavenly might of a strong Taoist platform realm cultivator. And on this day, 12 righteous sects from Qingzhou, including Golden Sword Sect, Dragon and Tiger Sect, Miaoyin Temple, Dragon Roar Palace, Tianqing Pavilion, Cloud Sea Cave, Jilia Castle, the 12 righteous sects came arriving at the site of Guanchao Pavilion. Of course, it has now been appointed as the new division palace of Ghost Ridge Palace. Some flew through the air, some rode bronze war chariots, and others commanded flying spiritual beasts, each with their own methods. Among the crowd, a dignified, well-proportioned woman with slightly furrowed brows was seen sheening from Miaoyin Temple, gazing distantly at the Lake Heart Island where the mountain gate of Guanchao Pavilion was located. Couldn't help but say, this place, it's still filled with such miasma. Who can say why Guanchao Pavilion perished? The speaker was Jiang Qi from Golden Sword Sect, a Taoist platform realm expert who personally attended the event because Su Jie insisted on the sect master's participation. With the current fame of Ghost Ridge Palace and Su Jie, no one dared to disrespect his request. What do you think Su Jie plans to achieve by bringing us here? The question came from Feng Qinzhong, sect master of Qingzhou Yunhai Cave. No idea, but it's definitely not good. With the style of the demon path, everyone should prepare for the worst. There's no way Su Jie intends to use this opportunity to wipe us out. Is there? Many people joined in the discussion until Zhuozhong, sect master of Dragon Roar Palace, suddenly made such a guess, causing the scene to silence. Impossible. Would Su Jie dare to do such a thing? Someone rebutted, and most people's faces changed. The sect masters of the righteous sects of Qingzhou are all here. Should they perish, their sects would be leaderless and in chaos. Don't overthink it. If Su Jie wanted to deal with us, would he need to play such tricks? Back then, Guanchao Pavilion had 6 Taoist platform realm experts and Dongyu, a pinnacle 7th realm Taoist platform expert wielding a mid-grade spiritual treasure, yet none of this held against Su Jie. If Su Jie chose to annex us, who present here could confidently withstand his attack? I've heard that Su Jie has a puppet treasure specifically designed to break the mountain protection array. Without the mountain protection war, Ghost Ridge Palace wouldn't even need to go all out. Just Su Jie alone could destroy our sect. Feng Qinzhong from Yunhai Cave gave 2 dry coughs, dispelling everyone's wild imaginings. People thought so too, as they had all heard about the fleeting appearance of the nuclear weapon on the battlefield of Guanchao Pavilion. Without the mountain protection war, how could they face the invasion by Ghost Ridge Palace and Su Jie? They would be wiped out within a day. Nonetheless, many couldn't help but panic inwardly, filled with apprehension. While chatting idly, a few had already crossed over to the Firefly Sea. Stop right there. The Firefly Sea is a no-fly zone, belonging to the inner sect of our Ghost Ridge Palace. Except for the Ghost Ridge Palace elders, all outsiders must come down. At this moment, a loud shout came from the front. A Ghost Ridge Palace elder, dressed in a red robe and with long brows and beard, riding a giant poisonous insect, blocked the path of numerous sect masters of Qingzhou's renowned righteous sects, speaking bluntly. What rule is this? There wasn't such a rule back when Guanchao Pavilion existed. The faces of the righteous sect masters present turned unpleasant, given a slap in the face just upon arrival. Most of them were at the 4th or 5th layer of secret realm cultivation, with 2 Taoist platform realm experts among them, accustomed to high and sudden encounters, never having heard of a no-fly zone. Guanchao Pavilion is history. Now it's the era of Ghost Ridge Palace. Our rules naturally differ from those of Guanchao Pavilion. If you don't wish to comply, please return to where you came from, but bear the consequences. The blocking elder naturally knew the identities of those before him, every one of them with cultivation levels higher than his own. In the past, he would turn tail upon seeing them. But now, with Ghost Ridge Palace backing him up, with Su Jie backing him up, his courage was evidently different. No matter how strong they are, could they surpass our sect master? Upon hearing the threatening words from the Ghost Ridge Palace elder, the expressions of the 12 righteous sect masters became increasingly displeased. Bullied by someone at the secret storage realm, especially a demon cultivator they looked down on in the past. Many felt indignant, just as the situation was at an impasse, seeing the 12 righteous sect masters not budging. The Ghost Ridge Palace elder snorted coldly, pulled out a signal flare from his chest, and it exploded in the sky with dazzling brightness, forming a gigantic centipede with thousands of hands as a firework. Buzz! In just a moment, the sky darkened. 5 massive shadows descended from the dome of the sky, pressing down like a dark cloud encroaching. These were 5 flying magical boats showing marks of war damage on some, but that did not affect their overwhelming oppressive presence. Flying magical boats are tools of war. Just one can change the tide of a low-level battlefield. Now, deploying all 5 at once, the intensity is maximized. Not to mention, on these flying magical boats, there were various Ghost Ridge Palace elders present. Even the former Ghost Ridge Palace sect master Zhang Junwei, at the 4th realm of Taoist platform, was on one of the boats, causing the righteous sect masters present to turn pale. You've got guts, Ghost Ridge Palace. We'll go down. Humph, it's just a ferry boat. We'll cross. We'll save face for your Ghost Ridge Palace. The leaders of various righteous sect masters became less stubborn and wisely lowered altitude before the 5 flying magical boats approached, arriving at the Ember Coast. Here, some ferry boats were docked, and many Ghost Ridge Palace junior disciples used these boats to travel back and forth to Lake Heart Island in the center of the Firefly Sea. Seeing these once prominent figures of the righteous path, the junior disciples of Ghost Ridge Palace pointed and whispered among themselves. Several of the righteous sect masters, who had short tempers, scowled and glared angrily at these former Ghost Ridge Palace disciples. Given their dignified status, It was humiliating for them to be reduced to squeezing onto a boat with Yunling Realm disciples. Yet they could do nothing about it because of the dominant power of Ghost Ridge Palace. Set sail. As the oars started to row, boats carrying hundreds of people set off towards the Lake Heart Island of Firefly Sea. An hour later, everyone reached the Lake Heart Island. Upon stepping onto the Lake Heart Island, the leaders of the righteous sect couldn't help but gasp. On the island, 9 enormous mystic iron chains pierced deep into the earth vein, continuously extracting the spiritual power from the underground spirit vein beneath Guan Chao Pavilion. The spiritual power extracted from these earth veins was rapidly being used to fill a huge pit. The pit was inscribed with a gigantic forbidden formation. Its diameter stretched beyond the eye could see, and many cultivators were visible working around it. And those working cultivators were still wearing the formal attire of Guan Chao Pavilion. Some even shackled with chains restraining their mana, clearly showing they were captured Guan Chao Pavilion disciples. At the center of the pit, an artificial insect valley environment was created, where numerous poisonous insects lived and thrived. Within, piles of corpse mountains were randomly stacked. These were the corpses of the dead righteous path cultivators. Though they had perished, their flesh, washed over by spiritual energy from years of cultivation, remained filled with spiritual power, making them a favorite among the poisonous insects, hastening their evolution. Surrounding these corpse mountains, countless poisonous insects in the pit continued to feast, battle, evolve, and devour other poisonous insects. Through this natural selection, the most ferocious and terrifying poisonous insects were selected and rewarded to inner sect disciples and elders who performed well on the battlefield. In the future, they could also be rewarded to disciples who contributed to the sect. The poverty-stricken Ghost Ridge Palace wasn't wasteful. Moreover, the corpses of cultivators were valuable to Gu masters, significantly speeding up the cultivation of poisonous insects. Even the present-day demon path magnate, Su Jie, used to sell corpses after killing, earning 30 low-grade spirit stones, which was a large sum for Su Jie back then. However, such operations, ordinary in the demon path, were seen by these righteous sect masters as outright mad, cruel, and heartless. To play and desecrate the corpses of the deceased like this, truly worthy of a demon cultivator. Si Xining's pale face showed indignation, further realizing the ruthlessness of Ghost Ridge Palace. If they could desecrate corpses this way, one couldn't expect them to have much mercy for the living. This violates natural order. It's truly against the laws of nature. Yunhai Cave sect master Feng Qinzhong shook his head repeatedly, closed his eyes, and waved solemnly at the pit, perhaps wishing for the tormented souls to be at peace soon. Unbeknownst, these souls had already been assigned seats within the 10,000 soul banner. Ghost Ridge Palace, you need to give us an explanation for this. As for Guan Chao Pavilion, that's one thing. But the bodies of our sect's disciples and elders must be brought back for a proper burial in our sect. I can't let them be buried in the 10,000 insect pit. That's my bottom line as a sect master. Dragon Roar Palace Master Zhuozhong's face turned ashen, seeing numerous disciples and elders' bodies from his sect in the pit. These were the reinforcements sent to assist Guan Chao Pavilion. All fell in the war, and now their bodies were devoured by insects and snakes, a sorrowful sight which infuriated him as a sect master. Heh, that's not up to me to decide unless the sect master gives the order. The Ghost Ridge Palace elder tasked with leading the way glanced back at Zhuozhong, his eyes full of mockery and disdain. Even after losing the battle, making such a ruckus, to the uninformed, it might seem that you are the victors. In Ghost Ridge Palace, the defeated belong entirely to the victors, and not just the storage bags. Even the bodies are considered victors' possessions, a very normal thing here. I will get to the bottom of this. Feeling the attitude of the Ghost Ridge Palace elder, Zhuozhong's face turned even more unsightly. After this short episode, the group continued their way, arriving at the center of Lake Heart Island. Here, 36 Jade Towers were being rebuilt. As a major defense battle of the Firefly Sea, Ghost Ridge Palace's array masters were overseeing disciples in repair and reconstruction efforts. Beside these 36 Jade Towers was the main hall of Guan Chao Pavilion, which was only opened for discussion during major sect matters. This structure remained largely unaffected during the sect war and was well preserved. Inside the main hall, two men were playing a game of chess. The one holding the white pieces was a middle-aged man with gray hair at his temples, playing cautiously, smiling often. Many recognized him at once as Lu Jingshi, the sect master of Heavenly Soul Sect, the second leading demon path sect in Qingzhou. The one holding the black pieces was a young man, draped in a dark gold-embroidered robe covering his tall and slender frame, with sharp eyebrows arching to his temples, his eyes ending in a fierce arc. Pale fingertips tapped the iron armrest. The posture of leaning sideways with a hand under the chin seemed lazy, yet the eyes were like drawn blades, casting a cold arc in the dim hall. The guests have arrived. Let's call this game off. A draw will suffice. The young man waved his hand, halting his chess moves. The chess game favors Su Sect Master. It is Su Sect Master who won. I'm still a bit lacking in the game, and I hope to learn more from Su Sect Master in the future. Lu Jingshi chuckled awkwardly, his tone full of flattery. The young man did not answer, slowly sitting upright, turning to face the 12 righteous sect masters entering the hall. Just meeting his gaze, several righteous sect masters felt their eyelids twitch, swallowed subconsciously, their legs slightly weak. For this person stands at the pinnacle of the Qingzhou demon path, whose fierce reputation echoes through the Deli dynasty, an unparalleled fiend known as the blood demon ancestor, Su Jie. His renowned name casts a shadow akin to a tree. How could these righteous sects not be filled with dread before such a peerless demon like Su Jie? Welcome, leaders of various sects and factions, to Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie's lips curled slightly, speaking blandly. This time, I've invited everyone here to discuss the future development of Qingzhou together. Being the pillar of Qingzhou, closing doors to talk heart-to-heart about future major plans is my responsibility as the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace. Without any aggression, Su Jie's words seemed approachable, making many present righteous sect masters relax slightly. The scene remained very quiet. The righteous sect masters remained silent. Seeing this, Su Jie tapped the armrest with his fingers and said, "Of course, I know there are small misunderstandings about me out there, saying I'm bloodthirsty and such, but these are the prejudices of the people, the nonsense of those ignorant masses. Personally, I always adhere to order and cooperation for mutual benefit, so no need to be overly concerned. This cooperative discussion is indeed genuine. Heaven and earth can witness." Upon hearing Su Jie speak like this, the atmosphere lightened considerably again. Zhuozhong, sect master of Dragon Roar Palace, couldn't hold back and stepped forward, saying, "I am Zhuozhong of Dragon Roar Palace. We have met Su Sect Master. Since Su Sect Master speaks of cooperation for mutual benefit, I too will speak frankly. I hope Su Sect Master could grant our Dragon Roar Palace the favor of retrieving the corpses of our sect disciples and elders from the 10,000 insect pit, allowing them to rest in peace. If fulfilled, Dragon Roar Palace will be eternally grateful and will definitely cooperate fully with Su Sect Master." Many on site widened their eyes. Zhuozhong really dared to ask. Many had shaky legs around Su Jie, yet Zhuozhong dared to question him. This courage, they certainly admire. Lu Jingshi, seated beside Su Jie, gazed at Zhuozhong, his eyes slightly empathetic. This guy really took Su Jie's pleasantries seriously, couldn't tell the good from the bad talk. If Su Jie were so amenable, how could he have made such a name in Qingzhou? "Do you have enough spirit stones in Dragon Roar Palace to ransom the spoil of war? We sell cultivator corpses quite expensively." Su Jie's expression showed no joy or anger, casually saying, "Spoil of war." Upon hearing these three words, Zhuozhong's temples bulged, choked, saying, "Su Sect Master, these were our sect's comrades and disciples. How can they be treated as spoils?" Ghost Ridge Palace, wishing to become the Qingzhou Alliance leader, must first gain people's trust, show Ghost Ridge Palace's attitude to the world. Otherwise, not even sparing the corpses, the world would think Ghost Ridge Palace is a gathering of predators. How could it gain the submission of all under heaven? This goes completely against our sect's moral principles. "Are you done speaking?" Su Jie's gaze deepened, The hall's bone lamp cast a ghostly glow from the dome, illuminating his eyes with a chilling hue beneath the lids, turning the air of the entire hall almost suffocating. The next moment, not waiting for Zhuozhong to respond, Su Jie suddenly clenched his 5 fingers. The armrest of the chair crumbled under his grip, his gaze like a snake darting, sweeping across the already sensing grave incident, trembling Zhuozhong, curling his lips into a mocking arc. "Are you instructing me how to conduct affairs?" As the words fell, Zhuozhong's face changed drastically, his eyes bulging, screaming in agony, because a multitude of pale arms appeared on his limbs, twisting his hands and feet into a braid-like mess. The crisp sound of bones breaking echoed through the hall, flesh and blood vessels burst in the twist, spilling blood and pulp. In just the blink of an eye, Zhuozhong, a Taoist platform realm's second-level powerhouse, had his limbs turned to mush, forming a human stick collapsed on the ground. "Wish to educate me on conduct, have me mend my ways, haha, sounds quite good. I'd like to see, I, Su Jie, today want to become Qingzhou Sky, the Qingzhou Alliance leader. Whomever harbors dissenting opinions, feel free to speak boldly. I would be open to hearing them." Speaking, Su Jie's gaze swept across the venue, sneering, "Finished my speech. Who agrees? Who opposes?" The scene fell into a deathly silence. Only Zhuozhong's miserable cries echoed intermittently in the great hall, causing the present righteous sect masters to shudder. Just now, with Su Jie's domineering statement and the absolute threat of his strength, who dared to utter another word? Zhuozhong's fate was still fresh in everyone's mind. A strong practitioner at the Taoist platform realm was like a clay figure before Su Jie, completely vulnerable, not to mention those sect masters at the 4th or 5th level of the secret realm. So, they all turned into clay statues of Buddha, saying nothing, remaining utterly silent. "What, all mute? Doesn't anyone have anything to say to me?" Su Jie tapped the armrest, his cold gaze sweeping across. Each righteous sect master dared not meet Su Jie's eyes. "Sect Master Su, our Heavenly Soul sect is willing to cooperate with Ghost Ridge Palace and become a branch of Ghost Ridge Palace." Standing beside Su Jie, Lu Jingshi glanced at Zhuozhong, thinking about Su Jie's arrangements for the Heavenly Soul sect during the recent chess game, and finally made up his mind. Since the tide was irreversible, he had no choice but to go with the flow and follow Ghost Ridge Palace's lead. I agree." However, the approval from the Heavenly Soul sect was not surprising, but almost simultaneously with Lu Jingshi, another voice sounded. The crowd turned their heads and found the speaker was none other than Yunhai Cave sect Master Feng Qinzhong, another Taoist platform realm powerhouse from the Qingzhou righteous sect. "Sect Master Su, our Yunhai Cave is willing to cooperate with Ghost Ridge Palace." Under several scrutinizing eyes, Feng Qinzhong mustered the courage to speak proactively. "Feng Qinzhong, you?" The mangled Zhuozhong looked at Feng Qinzhong with disbelief. The other party submitted and betrayed so quickly. "Oh, haha, you're quite sensible. Let me see your sincerity." Su Jie smiled slightly. Feng Qinzhong's appearance indicated that these righteous sects were not beyond taming. "Zhuozhong, the path is your own choice. I am not only thinking for myself, but for the tens of thousands of disciples in the sect." Upon hearing this, Feng Qinzhong's eyes turned ruthless, with no more shame on his face, and after crossing the mental hurdle, he felt his world was now vast and boundless. Looking at Zhuozhong again with no sympathy, only ridicule. Facing the questioning stares from the righteous sects around him, he proactively acted in front of Su Jie, fiercely launching a palm strike, spiritual power surging wildly, sending Zhuozhong flying out of the great hall, crashing into several fake mountains, life or death unknown. "A fool who doesn't know his place. How dare you question Sect Master Su's decision?" This strike was almost aimed to take Zhuozhong's life. His ribs were broken countless times. His internal organs were displaced. Had it not been for the protective talisman, that strike would have killed him. Feng Qinzhong. Several righteous sect masters' expressions changed drastically. Feng Qinzhong showing no regard for righteous camaraderie, compromising with Su Jie, this devil, and cruelly striking his own comrade. Like the sect master of Miaoyin Temple, Si Xining glanced angrily at Feng Qinzhong. then flew out to assist the critically injured Zhuozhong. But more righteous sect masters chose at this moment to stand behind Feng Qinzhong. Our Dragon and Tiger sect, like Yunhai Cave, is willing to serve Ghost Ridge Palace, to serve Sect Master Su. Our Julia Castle is willing to follow Ghost Ridge Palace's orders, without a word of protest. From now on, our Tianqing Pavilion will regard Ghost Ridge Palace as supreme, following its commands. Each righteous sect master knelt on one knee towards Su Jie. Naturally, they were unwilling, but in the face of absolute power, their dignity was worthless. The big fist is the truth. If they did not submit here, their sects would be annihilated by Ghost Ridge Palace. Submit or die, only these two options. The answer naturally surfaced. Any normal person would choose survival. Meanwhile, at the place in the Great Hall, Si Xining assisted Zhuozhong. Miaoying Palace and Dragon Roar Palace had been close allies for years. With excellent relations, they would not sit by and watch someone die. Sect Master Zhuo, why must you seek such unnecessary suffering? There's no way to survive by confronting Su Jie head-on. I just wanted to retrieve the bodies of my sect's disciples. What did I do wrong? Sect Master Zhuo, what strength do you possess? Though Taoist Platform Realm Second Layer Heaven is not bad. That's no reason to say whatever you want. Si Xining's tone was filled with exasperation at Zhuozhong's intransigence. It was Su Jie who suggested cooperation for mutual benefit, allowing us to speak freely. So I just spoke honestly. After swallowing the elixir Si Xining handed him, Zhuozhong's internal injuries had somewhat eased. Even his severed limbs were slowly healing, with new hands and feet growing. The formidable life force of the Taoist platform realm was beyond ordinary human limits. Regeneration of limbs was naturally no problem. He let you speak, but that's just Su Jie's courtesy, and you really spoke. Si Xining's mouth twitched, feeling speechless, advising, what Feng Qinzhong just said wasn't wrong. Even if you don't think of yourself, think of the tens of thousands of disciples of Dragon Roar Palace. Now come back with me. Quickly submit to Su Jie. It's the only way to survive. Zhuozhong said nothing, just hanging his head, his spirit completely gone. When the two returned to the Great Hall, most righteous sects had already chosen to submit to Su Jie, to Ghost Ridge Palace. Miaoying Pavilion, willing to follow Ghost Ridge Palace's commands. Si Xining set Zhuozhong down, feeling full of shame and anger, bowed remotely to Su Jie. After Si Xining spoke, the remaining righteous sect masters no longer persisted, opening their mouths one by one, expressing their desire to follow Ghost Ridge Palace. Finally, it was Zhuozhong's turn. At this time he no longer had the righteousness to speak for others. Instead, he was full of flattery. Sect Master Su, it was my oversight earlier. Our Dragon Roar Palace is willing to serve Ghost Ridge Palace faithfully. Crawl over here on your knees. Su Jie's voice echoed in the Great Hall, his cold eyes fixed on Zhuozhong. The faces of the righteous sect masters present changed at the humiliation of making a Taoist platform realm expert kneel. Before anyone could speak, almost as soon as Su Jie finished speaking, Zhuozhong fell to his knees with a thud and crawled to Su Jie step by step. Having just survived a brush with death at Ghost Gate, Zhuozhong no longer maintained his dignity. TSK, I prefer you in your initial defiant state. Su Jie stepped on Zhuozhong's face with a domineering stance that made many righteous sect masters feel a shared sense of disgrace. This demon path is truly outrageous. But despite their anger, none dared to stand up. The fate of the earlier bird Zhuozhong was still fresh in their minds. Zhuozhong grinned and said, Su sect master is right. It's entirely my fault. You can punish me any way you want. Just spare Dragon Roar Palace. Zhuozhong, in Su Jie's presence, had already learned that the Jianghu is not about fighting and killing, but about human emotions and worldly affairs. Survival is more important than anything else. Dare to act and take responsibility, you are indeed a person of character. You and Feng Qinzhong, both at the Taoist platform realm, will serve as external protectors for Ghost Ridge Palace and serve well. Su Jie chuckled, retracting his foot. Su Jie now didn't need to establish his power through killing. That had already been demonstrated in the Battle of Guanchao Pavilion. where the annihilation of Guanchao Pavilion was the final proof. In contrast, keeping Zhuozhong alive and causing Qingzhou righteous to split would better serve Ghost Ridge Palace. Sure enough, having survived by giving up pride, Zhuozhong retreated into the crowd, his eyes fixed on Feng Qinzhong, the sect master of Cloud Sea Cave, with undisguised murderous intent. Compared to Su Jie, Feng Qinzhong's treacherous behavior of selling out friends and taking advantage of the situation made Zhuozhong want nothing more than to kill him, with hatred far surpassing towards Su Jie. Feng Qinzhong snorted coldly, feeling gloomy inside, aware that as long as Zhuozhong was alive, their grudge would be significant. Su Jie witnessed this scene with a smile in his eyes. By keeping Zhuozhong, Qingzhou righteous would surely split into two factions as the only two Taoist platform experts turn against each other, and thus they could no longer unite. Ghost Ridge Palace could then remain firmly seated on the fishing platform, forcing the righteous sects to obediently follow Ghost Ridge Palace's commands and strive for its support. With competition, Ghost Ridge Palace could act more effectively as a referee. Otherwise, the united Qingzhou righteous would make Ghost Ridge Palace's work difficult to carry out. Exterminating Qingzhou righteous entirely was unnecessary, though Su Jie certainly could do it. Not to mention the massive turmoil it would cause worldwide, potentially provoking a united righteous sect crusade, destroying Guanchao Pavilion, the leader of Qingzhou righteous, and utterly exterminating the Qingzhou righteous are entirely different concepts. The former could be attributed to sect conflicts, while the latter would undoubtedly provoke public outrage. Moreover, for Su Jie, terms like righteous or demon path didn't matter to him. Whether they were Ghost Ridge Palace cultivators or these Qingzhou righteous cultivators, they all belonged to Su Jie as part of his assets. Cultivators are valuable resources, who would slaughter and discard their own cattle and sheep for nothing. This is our Ghost Ridge Palace's plan for the future of Qingzhou. Everyone just needs to follow the arrangements. Su Jie took out some booklets and tossed them to the righteous sect masters present. Si Xining and other righteous sect masters complained inwardly. They said they would discuss together, but Ghost Ridge Palace had already planned everything without even bothering with formalities, directly laying their cards on the table. Despite complaining inwardly, Si Xining dared not challenge Su Jie, especially knowing her direct disciple Emo Shiao had previously offended Su Jie, making her even more cautious in Su Jie's presence. With this in mind, Si Xining lowered her head, flipping through the booklet to see Su Jie's stated plans for the future of Qingzhou and allocations for their righteous sects. Just with one look, Si Xining's blood pressure surged, and she clenched the booklet tightly. Let our Miao Yin Temple female disciples descend the mountain and form dance troupes, theaters, and pleasure boats. Si Xining originally tried to restrain herself from speaking, but she couldn't help herself as the booklet's plans were excessively outrageous. Just this one provision angered her. All disciples of Miao Yin Temple are female cultivators and never accept male disciples. They carefully select talented female cultivators from a young age, excelling in music, chess, calligraphy, painting with refined qualities, especially renowned for their musical prowess, combining the melodious music and magic, hailed as the best in the Daili dynasty. This is evident from the name Miao Yin Temple. Their unique female sect characteristics grant Miao Yin Temple a distinguished reputation in Qingzhou and across the Daili dynasty. After all, which young righteous sect cultivator wouldn't wish for a graceful, elegant female cultivator as their Taoist couple? In Qingzhou, Miao Yin Temple female cultivators symbolize elegance, beauty, and charm, frequently engaging with major righteous sects, discussing Taoism and playing instruments at high-end venues. Yet now, Su Jie demands them to form dance troupes, essentially forcing celestial beings to descend to mortals, which is simply outrageous. Even worse, there are plans for movie filming, tourism industries, things Si Xining couldn't understand, but she interpreted from the booklet only the word exploitation. Does sect leader Si have any objections? Su Jie smiled at Si Xining. Si Xining's lips trembled, initially wanting to argue. Her Miao Yin Temple would not please commoners. But looking at Su Jie's expression, the words couldn't leave her mouth. She feared Su Jie would kill her with a single slap. No, none. Si Xining chuckled awkwardly, ultimately not daring to contradict Su Jie. only managing a bitter smile and withdrawing. Other righteous sect masters, like Si Shining, upon seeing the booklet, their faces were quite unpleasant. The booklet demanded far too much from their righteous sects, requiring immense contributions for architectural wonders alone. Besides this, they were expected to annually send outstanding disciples to Ghost Ridge Palace to exchange and learn the advanced culture and system, fearing these disciples might return indoctrinated with demon path habits. Ghost Ridge Palace also demanded stationing troops near various sects throughout Qingzhou, recruiting major sect cultivators to form the Qingzhou Army, serving Ghost Ridge Palace. Furthermore, there was a portfolio of agreements regarding economic alliances, currency reform, spirit vein sharing, an assortment of confusing components, which individually understood yet collectively baffled many as to Su Jie's strategies. The discernible parts clearly revealed Su Jie's greedy ambition, aiming for nothing but exploiting them ruthlessly. Momentarily, all the present righteous sects longed for Guanchao Pavilion. When Guanchao Pavilion was present, there weren't so many distressing incidents. No one is speaking. It appears there are no objections. Then please sign and press your handprints. Su Jie disregarded the righteous sect master's dismal expressions. Now was the time for them to experience a taste of capitalism's shock. Nothing better suits this environment than capitalism, characterized by the private property of means of production, essentially resulting in the private ownership of resources and wealth, leading to a few people holding most of the wealth, ultimately forming wealth barriers and resource monopolies. Such characteristics are what Su Jie prefers, for the maximal exploitation and monopoly to provide Su Jie with the greatest resources, facilitating his ascension in power. I'll sign. Hearing Su Jie's words, Zhuozhong decisively signed his name. The others, seeing this, were also helpless, capitulating under Su Jie's tyranny and signing their names. With the demise of Guanchao Pavilion, the leader of the Qingzhou righteous sect, Ghost Ridge Palace reached the pinnacle of Qingzhou and curtailed the Qingzhou righteous sect, marking the beginning of a new phase in Qingzhou's development. The first to spring into action were the Ghost Ridge Palace disciples. Disciples of Ghost Ridge Palace, who once lived only in remote wilderness, went down the mountains in droves, entered major cities in Qingzhou, and established specialized offices while acquiring various industries. Moreover, for flying magical boats were dispatched, carrying a group of elders and inner disciples, to garrison throughout Qingzhou, asserting a formidable presence over the entire province. Personnel from major righteous sects were also organized to provide manpower, financial resources, and efforts to assist Ghost Ridge Palace in their transformation of Qingzhou according to the palace's plan. The actions of Ghost Ridge Palace were not concealed. Such significant movements could not be hidden. The external world was very curious about the changes in Qingzhou, as the approach of Ghost Ridge Palace surpassed the boundaries of a sect and resembled more of a dynasty's rule over a region. Sects generally managed the populace under their control loosely. Their concerns were primarily recruiting disciples and maintaining production sites for various resources, with little regard for the lives of common folk, which was the government's responsibility. Yet, Ghost Ridge Palace, contrary to norms, devolved power to the grassroots level and managed all aspects. Qingzhou is a major grain-producing province of the Deli dynasty, with a population significantly larger than other states. This population has already become a resource in the eyes of Ghost Ridge Palace, or rather Su Jie. People, too, are a kind of cultivation resource. Thus, upon Su Jie's decree, a series of stringent laws like the Qingzhou Law, Sect Management Law, and Cultivator's Code of Conduct were enacted, including directives that Ghost Ridge Palace disciples must not harm the people under their control without cause. Such orders, not only within Qingzhou righteous, even within Ghost Ridge Palace itself, caused dissatisfaction among many elders. In a secluded place within the deep mountains and forests of Qingzhou, Su Jie sat cross-legged in meditation, looking like a statue, covered with dust and fallen leaves, even birds hopping on his shoulders, seemingly unfearful of him, regarding him as a dead tree or rock. In another spot stood Han Ruyan, clad in a blood-colored wedding dress. She did not disturb Su Jie, safeguarding him while reading a booklet. This booklet was the one Su Jie once sought for her from the Heavenly Soul sect, detailing the advancement path for a ninth-grade fierce ghost. According to the records of the Heavenly Soul Sect's successive ancestors, beyond the ninth-grade fierce ghost, ghosts have reached a realm where yin and yang coexist, almost the pinnacle a ghost can achieve in its lifetime. But this does not mean there is no way forward. To break through further as a ninth-grade fierce ghost, one must find a method from the Tao River. Ninth-grade fierce ghost. The world cannot bear it. Only by defying the heavens. Using ghost heart to replace heavenly heart. Heavenly eye to replace ghost eye. Heavenly bones to replace ghost bones. Han Ruyan's brows furrowed slightly, the pearls atop her phoenix crown swaying, her bright red wedding dress moving with the wind. She had an epiphany in her heart, based on the records of the Heavenly Soul Sect's successive ancestors. The Heavenly Tao of Tianyuan World is nearing the limit of its tolerance for the ninth-grade fierce ghost, which was evident from the heavenly tribulation Han Ruyan encountered during her breakthrough to ninth-grade fierce ghost. To progress further beyond the ninth-grade fierce ghost, the power of the Tao River must be introduced. Because the Tao River is impartial, treating all things as insignificant, it is a domain far deeper than the Heavenly Tao. Be it fierce ghost, flying birds, beasts, humans, or spirits of mountains and wilderness, the Tao River looks at all equally, or rather the Tao River disdains targeting specifically. Therefore, to surpass the ninth-grade fierce ghost, one must closely integrate the ghost body with the Tao River, cutting out a part of the Tao River, incorporating it into oneself, refining it into a new ghost body, ghost heart, ghost eye, and soul to replace the former ghost body. But it's easier said than done, not to mention what the Tao River is, where only the Yang God can barely operate, especially the Tao River on the side of Tianyuan World, where its intensity is beyond measure. To fuse the ghost body with the Tao and cut out a portion, the difficulty is so high that those ghosts attempting this often get crushed to dust by the Tao River. Perhaps there is hope on Blue Star. Han Ruyan thought of Blue Star. The Tao River is different there. If you think of the Tao River as a river with various water systems, then the Tao River on Tianyuan World side would be the mainstream water system, akin to the Yangtze and Yellow Rivers, turbulent with rushing waters. In contrast, the Tao River on Blue Star's side would be like a tributary, a gentle stream with calm, serene waters. With Han Ruyan's abilities accomplishing integration with the Tao River, there is much more hope on the Blue Star side than on the Tianyuan World side. And once the integration is truly accomplished, breaking through beyond the ninth-grade fierce ghost, at that realm she would become a Yin Ruins Ghost King, meaning born by breaking the boundary, returning all things to the ruins, comparable to the hollow great power, a king among ghosts. The meaning of ruins often refers to places once inhabited but now abandoned, generally wastelands and graves. The void in Cave Void Practitioner signifies vibrant grotto heavens, whereas the ruins in Yin Ruins Ghost King signifies desolate deadlands. Cultivation, after all, leads to the same goal by different means. Practitioners need to refine grotto heavens to achieve the hollow. Ghosts also need to cut and refine part of the Tao River to achieve Yin ruins. Han Ruyan's brows sometimes slightly wrinkled, sometimes relaxed, pondering various matters for future cultivation. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! The wind in the forest grew more boisterous. Han Ruyan's heart was stirred. She looked up at the calmly seated, statue-like Su Jie, a divine figure, entirely resplendent in gold and clad in golden armor, leaps out above Su Jie, resembling Su Jie in every aspect. This was Su Jie's Yang God. Rumble. With the emergence of the Yang God, dark clouds instantly covered the sky dome, and heavenly thunder surged like a flood dragon. The purple mansion thunder tribulation had arrived. Crackle. Creak. The thousand-hand centipede and the drowsy annual ringworm in Su Jie's sleeves were awakened by the pressure of heaven and earth, crawled out from the sleeves, and landed at a distance, continuing to sound crackle and creak incessantly. Purple mansion unified. Who could hinder me? Su Jie's Yang God stood proudly, its eyes domineering, its aura soaring into the sky, shattering layer upon layer of tribulation clouds, regarding the purple mansion thunder tribulation as ants. The shattered tribulation clouds suddenly collapsed into a vortex, with the tribulation lightning condensing into vertical pupil-like lightning patterns within the depths of the vortex. The next moment, it seemed as if the sky cracked open or as if a god opened its eyes. a streak of purple-white lightning crashed down, shaking the mountains for hundreds of miles, cracking the rocks for 10 miles, and turning the earth within a kilometer into boiling lava. This was merely the first heavenly thunder. Ordinarily, for a Tao platform realm cultivator caught in this, it would shatter their Tao heart immediately. They couldn't possibly survive such tribulation lightning. However, Su Jie's young god faced the lightning with open arms, holding the divine spear condensed from purple cloud heavenly thunder, and collided fiercely with the tribulation lightning. No vast shock wave nor destruction occurred. The tribulation lightning was completely devoured by the divine spear, absorbed by Su Jie's young god, making it glow even more magnificently like a golden sun, its divine radiance illuminating the heavens and earth. Other cultivators advancing to the Purple Mansion realm could not confront it as effortlessly as Su Jie. Their primordial spirits couldn't withstand such extremely strong yang tribulation lightning. Usually, cultivators at this level suffer greatly under the tribulation lightning during their tribulation, undergoing repeated refinement to imbue their primordial spirits with the same extremely strong yang characteristics, forming the yang god. But who was Su Jie? He had already achieved a similarly extremely strong yang god in advance, and it wasn't just any yang god, it was one condensed with 72 brilliant golden cores. Such mighty tribulation lightning was utterly insignificant in Su Jie's eyes. The second strike, the third strike, terrifying heavenly thunder crashed down repeatedly, capable of easily annihilating Tao platform realm cultivators. Yet Su Jie toyed with them effortlessly, absorbing them all into his yang god. At this moment, Su Jie fully embodied what it meant to be a genius. For others, advancing to the Purple Mansion realm was a perilous ordeal. For Su Jie, it was not fraught with danger, not riddled with traps. It was mere child's play, discreetly suppressing and absorbing the terrifying tribulation lightning, embodying a carefree and easygoing demeanor. Rumble. When the eighth heavenly thunder was effortlessly weathered by Su Jie, a muffled rumbling echoed from the depths of the sky dome, as if countless gigantic beasts were grinding their fangs and roaring within the clouds. The ninth tribulation lightning was brewing, suddenly striking down. This tribulation lightning was azure white, entwined with chaotic energy, appearing to be a lightning pillar intent on obliterating the earth, illuminating the entire mountainous region, as if it were daylight when it descended. Dharma! Su Jie laughed aloud, transforming his yang god into his Dharma. Winged upon his back, towering like a mountain, his single eye illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the chaos Dharma formed in the void. The Dharma's single eye transformed into a vortex, directly engulfing and accommodating the sky-covering lightning pillar, swallowing it entirely. The whole process lasted for a full minute before the lightning pillar dissipated with a thundering crash, and the tribulation clouds began to disperse. Roar! The chaos Dharma roared up to the heavens, then turned its head and directly drilled into the head of Su Jie's physical body sitting on the ground, simultaneously releasing the energies of the previously swallowed tribulation lightning. Crackle! Electric arcs exploded, thunder rolled, and plasma poured into his meridians through his 7 orifices. His skin inch by inch carbonized and peeled away, unveiling the jade-like bones beneath. Yet even the bones were cracking, unable to fully withstand the tribulation lightning. From a distance, Su Jie's entire body radiated terrifying lightning, seemingly a thunderous divine body, with tribulation lightning frantically demolishing his flesh, bones, and internal organs. However, under the self-healing of Su Jie's blood sea devouring sky demon skill, the injuries repeatedly tugged back and forth. Often in places where the flesh was charred, the blood split into thousands of flesh pieces, quickly replenishing Su Jie's flesh, with newborn flesh beneath the golden light consuming the carbonized surface, sloughing off dead skin that transformed into ash butterflies in the wind, each with wings flickering with lingering lightning. Life continuously reborn in destruction, causing Su Jie's bones to splinter and reorganize inch by inch, making his physical form stronger through each transformation, until the exposed spine burst forth a faint golden radiance. Su Jie's entire jade-like bones gradually became imbued with faint golden hues, akin to pure gold casting, with hardness surpassing that of the previous tenfold. At the dantian, it was as if 1,000 stars interlaced, forming a star map. Purple Mansion. Accomplished. Suddenly, Su Jie snapped his eyes open. Golden heavenly thunder burst forth from Su Jie's eyes, its aura covering the sky, and the expanded golden spiritual power surged like a mountain and sea, dyeing the clouds within 100 miles a reddish gold color. Looking again at Su Jie's physical body, layers of charred flesh peeled away, revealing a texture akin to glaze. When the last thread of tribulation lightning was absorbed by Su Jie's body, his constitution underwent a world-shaking transformation. Pale golden divine bones twisted, emitting a clear sound like jade chimes, accompanied by a heartbeat akin to a thunderous big drum, as if the Tao heavenly sound was playing in the human realm, soul-stirring. Skin like glazed jade stone, containing infinite divine power, able to throw high mountains and cover seas with a simple gesture, plunging heaven and earth into eclipse. The meridians in Su Jie's body transformed into dragons, and the vast spiritual power surged within. Acupuncture points turned into a sky full of stars, filled with essence and divine radiance, intertwined like an ordered divine chain, inwardly constrained all of Su Jie's strength and spiritual power. Even beneath Su Jie's feet, there rose a 7-petal Tao lotus, the 9-grade sacred lotus. It benefited from the pure yang vitality of the prior tribulation lightning, now sprouting another cotyledon, growing the 7th petal, drawing closer to its complete form of 9 lotus petals. Standing on the 9-grade sacred lotus, feeling the power surging within, Su Jie couldn't help but feel boundless grandeur and ambition. Purple Mansion Realm, so this is the Purple Mansion Realm. Su Jie smiled, and that smile grew into thunderous laughter. Boom! Su Jie raised his left hand and struck with a palm. Spiritual power surged forth like a tide, with the sharp roar of dragons and tigers from the void. Bang! A mountain in front was directly blasted halfway down, with rock fragments flying into the air thousands of meters high, leaving a giant handprint a kilometer size on the remaining half of the mountain, with its texture minutely distinguished, as if an eternal mark left by a colossal giant. This was just a casual strike from Su Jie, merely the simple overflow of physical power and spiritual strength, demonstrating such might. If he used the Dharma form, the power would double in intensity. This is why Purple Mansion cultivators are so revered. Each and every one stands at the pinnacle of the Delhi dynasty. Especially in the current times of cave void great power dwindling, the Purple Mansion cultivators represent the strongest level in the Delhi dynasty. Su Jie could feel the earth-shattering change in his strength compared to the past. Now, in Su Jie's world, he can go wherever he pleases. Zizi! A shadow flashed ahead. The 1,000-hand centipede darted into Su Jie's embrace, coiling around his arm, jubilant for its master's ascension to the Purple Mansion. Yaya! The annual ringworm crawled slowly onto Su Jie's palm, looking curiously at him with its sesame-like eyes. It had contracted with many sect masters from Ghost Ridge Palace, but Su Jie is the only one, at present, who has broken through to the Purple Mansion realm. Su Jie stroked the 1,000-hand centipede and flicked the soft head of the annual ringworm. Amidst the delighted rolling of the centipede and the worm's white eyes, he turned to the arriving Han Ruyan. Congratulations, husband, on achieving the Purple Mansion Dao. Han Ruyan smiled charmingly, with beautiful eyes carrying a faint joy. From now on, in the Tianyuan world, united in heart and mind, this world will be in our grasp. Without further words, Su Jie embraced Han Ruyan's slender waist and kissed those rouge-red lips. Beauty in his arms, Qingzhou in his hand, and strength advanced to the Purple Mansion realm. Su Jie's heart couldn't help but become wild. Han Ruyan gently accepted Su Jie's boldness. The 9th-grade fierce ghost she is, she understands Su Jie's heart better than before. Zizi, Zizi, the 1,000-hand centipede, feeling neglected, waved its antennae atop its head, uttering a grievance-filled chirp. It too wanted affection. All right, next time I will surely help Xiao Qian advance to 9 refinement goo worm. I know you're impressive. Su Jie couldn't help but laugh. But these words were not to coax Xiao Qian. Xiao Qian is currently a top-grade 8 refinement goo worm, with the cultivation of many goo worms on Blue Star. The day it breaks through to 9 refinement goo worm can be anticipated. Thinking of that scenario with a 9th grade fierce ghost plus a 9 refinement goo worm, along with his own early-stage purple mansion realm cultivation, Su Jie's spirit couldn't help but swell a bit. In this world, he assuredly had great confidence to fight against even a mid-stage purple mansion opponent, and dare even to confront a late-stage purple mansion realm. This is the confidence strong power brings to Su Jie. Qingzhou Firefly Sea. The 1,000-hand centipede descended from the sky, landing in the middle of Lake Heart Island. In just over a month, the reconstruction and restoration of the former site of Guanchao Pavilion, which had experienced war, was almost complete, and the traces of war were nearly invisible. Now, this former site of Guanchao Pavilion has become the true main base of Ghost Ridge Palace. As the leader of the Qingzhou righteous sect, the spiritual vein where their mountain gate is located is also the most rich and abundant in Qingzhou, much better than the underground spirit vein of Ghost Ridge Palace's barren mountains, especially since Su Jie fused the dragon vein crystal fruit, which contained the Yang God powerhouse Difeng, into the underground spirit vein, further enhancing the concentration and quality of spiritual energy it emits underground. The benefits for cultivation are self-evident. Coupled with the various environmental and convenience factors, Ghost Ridge Palace naturally moved their main base to this beautifully situated Firefly Sea. After all, who would prefer to run off to barren mountains when they can live by a scenic plains lake? However, Ghost Ridge Palace did not abandon their previous place entirely, still leaving a part of their strength there, since Insect Valley is still there, which can be used as a training ground for disciples, and also serves as a retreat path for Ghost Ridge Palace. Getting off from the 1,000-hand centipede, Su Jie saw a graceful figure hurrying over. Su Jie, you're finally back. The one who came was Lu Yingying. Su Jie had been out for more than half a month due to breaking through to the Purple Mansion realm. What happened? Originally wanting to share some joy with Lu Yingying, Su Jie noticed something was off about her expression and realized that something must have happened within the sect. Lu Yingying didn't beat around the bush and straightforwardly explained the situation. Our plans and arrangements for Qingzhou encountered quite a few issues while you were gone, but most are minor. However, one is quite severe. Some Ghost Ridge Palace elders blatantly violated our laws, attacked the common people, and even used them as food and sacrifices to refine insect bodies. At the end of her narration, Lu Yingying seemed somewhat uneasy, clearly having witnessed some shocking scenes. Lu Yingying was in charge of Qingzhou's capitalized transformation, specifically dealing with such issues. After all, others didn't understand the plan Su Jie was executing. What about the Law Enforcement Hall? Su Jie's eyes turned cold. The Law Enforcement Hall is the unit that belongs to the sect master, mainly responsible for the order within the sect. Those who enter it are at least at the 6th level of the Yunling realm in cultivation, equivalent to the level of inner disciples. Additionally, there are 7 secret realm elders, also part of the Law Enforcement Hall, serving under the sect master's orders. The offenders are elders, and there are many of them. Considering the impact, we've only put a few of the most brazen and unscrupulous elders under house arrest for now. Lu Yingying handed over some documents, which recorded the heinous crimes committed by those Ghost Ridge Palace elders. Order a sect-wide meeting. All disciples must attend. As Su Jie looked through the documents, his gaze grew colder. Yes. Beside him, a group of Law Enforcement Hall disciples, sensing the chilling killing intent emanating from Su Jie, hurriedly set off to announce the sect master's command. Soon, the gold-plated copper bell, hanging a yard high at the top of the tower, was struck, and the low hum of this magical treasure broke the silence. As the echo of the bell died away over the lake, regardless of what they were busy with, the Ghost Ridge Palace disciples and elders paused and gathered at the martial arts arena. Approximately 20,000 disciples gathered there. The remainder were mostly scattered throughout Qingzhou, executing Su Jie's transformation plan for Qingzhou. In the martial arts arena, 72 human skin lanterns adorned with 1,000-hand centipede totems moved without wind. Su Jie sat on the black iron chair atop a high platform, the 1,000-hand centipede coiled in his left hand, his right hand rhythmically tapping the armrest. Though he said nothing, The invisible murderous aura made the atmosphere terrifyingly silent among the 20,000 present. Everyone sensed that the sect master was in a foul mood and dared not stir up trouble. After the disciples gathered, the elders appeared one by one, standing in front of their respective disciples. Then came the three supreme elders Zhang Junwei, Tang Peiqing, and Taoist Qiu. Sect master, all inner disciples have arrived. Chen Yun stood beside Su Jie, whispering a reminder. Just as Zhu Zhangxi became the hall master of the puppet hall, Chen Yun's position rose along with Su Jie's. Though her cultivation only just barely broke into the secret realm with the abundant resources provided by Su Jie, her future progress in cultivation may be limited. But as someone who helped Su Jie from the start, she earned his full trust and was tasked with managing the elite forces of the law enforcement hall for Su Jie. Su Jie nodded slightly, his gaze sweeping across the crowd, pausing for a few seconds especially on several elders. Now that everyone is here, I'll keep it brief. I don't know if everyone thinks that after destroying Guanchao Pavilion, our Ghost Ridge Palace can relax, thinking there are no more worries ahead, losing the motivation to strive and indulging in pleasure, becoming wantonly reckless. Su Jie began slowly, while below, thousands of disciples and elders listened intently, aware that Su Jie's summons were not merely for idle chatter. You see, I've only been away for 2 weeks, and the sect has already caused quite a few disturbances, openly sabotaging our plans for the future of Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie sneered coldly, his gaze locking onto several elders, directly naming them Elder Yin, Elder Li, Elder Tian, Elder Tao, Elder Chan, Elder Qing. Come forward and share the magnificent deeds you've accomplished, so that I, as the sect master, can also broaden my horizons. Su Jie's voice was like the ominous wind blowing from the depths of the demon cave, and the tension in the air rose sharply. The named elders' hearts almost skipped a beat, their faces turning pale. A few elders trembled as they walked out, falling to their knees with a thud, their backs already drenched in cold sweat. Others may not understand the terror of Su Jie, but these Ghost Ridge Palace elders surely do. Being singled out by Su Jie is akin to receiving a death warrant from the King of Hell. Who wouldn't be afraid? All of you remain silent, behaving differently when I announced the decree. You certainly didn't act this way before. Take Elder Yin, for example. 12 days ago, you slaughtered 9 villages and fed the villagers, regardless of age or gender, to the insects. 8 days ago, you let the insect cloud ravage Funko City, leaving after killing 10,000 people. 6 days ago, you conducted a blood sacrifice at the Lien Port Wharf, blocking rivers with corpses and turning the water murky red. Su Jie meticulously listed the countless blood crimes that Elder Yin Changtian committed in recent days. These few elders have been rampaging across Qingzhou, causing chaos where order had once settled. Su Jie understands their thoughts. The Ghost Ridge Palace becoming Qingzhou's strongest force means their previously restrained desire to kill can be indulged without restriction, overflowing with slaughter, cultivating with demon techniques, feeding humans to insects, accelerating cultivation speed. Sect Master, those were just ordinary people. To cultivate the human worm refining technique, it inherently requires killing people and feeding insects. I merely killed a bit more. Those common folk are as numerous as weeds. What's the harm in killing some? Under Su Jie's scrutiny, Yin Changtian's heart beat like a drum, causing him a headache as he tried to justify himself. These words caused slight nods among many present. The human worm refining technique is one of Ghost Ridge Palace's 3 major techniques, comparable to the insect control technique and the body worm focusing method, known as the 3 Gu Master Classics. Many disciples and elders at Ghost Ridge Palace practice this cultivation technique. Those who practice the human worm refining technique need to feed insects with humans, merging one's body with the insect, transforming them into a human worm body, which is extremely ferocious and brutal. In the past, Ghost Ridge Palace bought human slaves in large quantities, mostly to satisfy the demands of those cultivating the human worm refining technique. What a wasteful approach, relying on killing to cultivate, it's a crooked path and you still don't see the error. You require capital punishment prisoners transported monthly across Qingzhou to meet the minimum needs of your demon technique. Yet you're still not satisfied. Your greed is limitless. Su Jie snorted coldly. Reaching today's level wasn't achieved through killing for cultivation. Humans, to Su Jie, are the most precious resource, similar to Blue Star. Nurturing insects and goo, providing fear emotions, raising livestock to harvest souls, providing blood, and so on. The wealth extracted from living humans far exceeds the cold corpses left after killing. It's the difference between stones and gold. The simplistic and brutal killing for cultivation is completely beneath Su Jie, and he refuses to let anyone squander his wealth this way. Yin Changtian doesn't feel he is wrong at all, insisting it's Su Jie who is being unreasonable. If demon cultivators don't kill, can they still be called demon cultivators? But Yin Changtian dared not speak back, only his head bowing to the ground. Sect Master, I know my mistakes now, and I won't act recklessly in the future. Inside, Yin Changtian secretly resolved to be more discreet in his future massacres, avoiding blatant actions like before. Having tasted the sweetness of rapidly improving his human worm refining technique through killing, he is reluctant to give it up. It's good to know your mistakes. Now it's time to go. Su Jie patted the thousand-hand centipede's head, the centipede opening its bloody maw with their shared intentions, releasing beams of purple light. Bam! Yin Changtian could not react in time, enveloped by the purple light, melting like a candle, unable to scream, with no next time, dying miserably on the spot. This cruel scene shocked everyone present. Not just ordinary disciples. Even the elders flinched, their faces twitching in fear. Though Su Jie had slain countless outsiders before, he had never been so ruthless internally, claiming the life of a secret realm elder in mere seconds. However, witnessing Su Jie's cold gaze, even elders who were friendly with Yin Changtian dared not step forward to speak for them, fearing involvement in their downfall. When Su Jie's gaze fell upon the other three kneeling elders, they abruptly woke up, their expressions changing drastically, realizing Su Jie intended to eradicate them. Sect Master. The Sect Master has gone mad. Quickly stop him. We've only killed some common folk and consumed some blood food, and you're defending those people. Are you our Sect Master or theirs? I've bled for the Sect. I've achieved merits for the Sect. You can't kill me. I want to see Sect Master Zhang. I want to see Sect Master Zhang. Save me, Sect Master Zhang. Young brat, you should never have become Sect Master. You betrayed our Ghost Ridge Palace. You betrayed our demon cultivators. The kneeling elders varied. Some raving madly, others pleading for mercy, and some cursing. Su Jie held no expression, calmly waving his hand. Defaming the Sect Master. What crime is that? Chen Yun glanced at the elders, displaying a steadfast look, addressing Su Jie. Reporting to the Sect Master, according to Ghost Ridge Palace's Law Enforcement Hall's criminal codes, showing disrespect to, defaming, or defying the Sect Master's orders, warrant skinning, tendon extraction, soul extraction, and lantern burning, subjected to the punishment of 10,000 insect bites. What are you waiting for then? Execute. Su Jie declared death sentences for several elders. Without killing to make an example, the demon cultivators wouldn't be afraid. Instead, they might consider their status as privileged, and such incidents would inevitably recur. Additionally, Su Jie needed to show everyone at Ghost Ridge Palace that defying his order would have dire consequences, proving his resolve to cleanse internally with the same ruthlessness as he did against righteous cultivators. Upon hearing Su Jie's merciless words, some elders felt despair, collapsing on the ground, while others attempted to escape, seeking even the slightest chance of survival, despite dim prospects. There was no need for Su Jie to act. A black light flashed in the void. Taoist Qiu emerged, stepping forcefully on an escaping elder's chest, crushing their ribcage to the ground, forming a deep pit. Tang Peiqing opened his left palm, gently blowing out invisible poisonous insects that flew into one fleeing elder's body, causing excruciating screams and convulsions, falling from the sky. Zhang Junwei, the former Sect Master, also appeared in the air, gazing complexly at the last fleeing elder, his sleeve waving. The heavenly might descended, conjuring countless dragon-shaped vines, wrapping the elder like a cocoon, immobilizing them. Moreover, dozens of elders simultaneously joined in, directly suppressing the other two escaping elders. The martial arts arena fell into a frightful silence, with all the disciples silently witnessing the internal purge, eventually bowing down in unison. Su Sect Master, divine might. The voice resounded like thunder, shaking the heavens. Su Jie's prestige and power are undeniable, with his accomplishments in destroying Guanchao Pavilion. These few elders can't shake Su Jie's position. In Demon Path, strength reigns. As long as Su Jie remains in the Purple Mansion, he can secure his position as Ghost Ridge Palace Sect Master, a fact no one can change. Amidst the shouts of thousands of disciples, the backdrop comprises several elders reduced to prisoners. They were akin to having their spines removed, slumped on the ground, their eyes filled with despair and regret. Had they known Su Jie was so ruthless internally, they wouldn't have violated his orders, rampaging through Qingzhou's common folk. But there's no regret medicine. Chun Yun had already brought law enforcement hall disciples, escorting these elders, bringing various restraints. After enduring extreme punishment, their ultimate fate awaited as soul extraction, their souls bound in the 10,000 soul banner. Having gone through this experience, Su Jie reaffirmed his authority in Ghost Ridge Palace. He also dismantled some constraints left by Zhang Junwei, even with the former sect master issuing personal appearances, handling rebellious elders. Su Jie's authority is evident. The established authority is subsequently spread over time. Seeing how ruthlessly Su Jie tackled his own sect, other righteous sects dared not defy Su Jie's orders, obediently following his arrangements. All of Qingzhou subsequently regained order, transitioning rapidly into the development express lane, heading towards the capitalized model that Su Jie anticipated.